3, 2, 1. Sponsored by. They're not sponsoring us.
For legal reasons, that was a comedic bit.
Yes, for legal reasons. What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the True Gamer Podcast, a podcast hosted by two gamers for you, the True Gamers. I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with my bro, the inverted gamer himself, Sheps. How's it going, bro?
It's going good. How's it going with you?
It's going fantastic, because we're back to do a more gaming news, more gaming stuff, and we're getting ever so closer to...
It freaking dropped.
Is everything okay? It just dropped when we started going, obviously.
Yeah, we're good.
We're getting ever so closer to E3. We're getting ever so closer to Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart.
Yes.
And tomorrow, as of day of recording, probably out already by the time everyone listens to this, Mass Effect Legendary Edition. And I've been getting more hyped for it. So just to make you proud,
We start this thing off with obviously what you're playing, how you're enjoying it, how's it going, how you're gaming.
And then we get into all the gaming news and stuff like that.
I have three questions for you.
Yes.
Because I know for a fact you're playing 2 games right now.
Yep.
Minimum. I know you're playing Returnal. I know you're playing RE8, Resident Evil Village. Is it Village?
Village, yes.
I want to know how you're liking both of those. Mm-hmm. And have your opinions changed on them or any of that. And then I want to talk Mass Effect.
Okay. All right. So should we get right into some good gaming stuff?
Good game.
Before we get talking about that, though.
Yes.
The only people that matter to us in the world.
It's true. These are the only opinions that we care about, not even our women, because actually, my woman's not a Patreon. What bitch?
Neither is mine. She just takes care of my gorgeous 9-month-old baby.
9-year-old.
Returnal
time loop.
Sorry, that's the other Mrs.
the 9 years.
Yeah, she's somewhere else. But she just takes care of my gorgeous 9-month-old baby.
She needs to pull her weight.
Exactly. Jesus Christ.
But 2, our Patreon, the Super Bros, over on patreon.com/Conbrosations, who make all of this possible. Everything you see in front of you, the awesome setup, the cameras you're looking at us through. You look through the camera. Yes, that's right. The lighting, these awesome armchairs so we're actually comfortable, all made possible by the incredible Super Bros over on patreon.com/Conbrosations. Who do we have to thank?
We have Diogo Dildo, Isak the Ultimate Cumsock, Carol to Rivier, aka Catsper the Friendly Patron, Record Friction, Dan the Man, Jeremy Renner, that's right, an official Avenger, Martin Scorsese's Master H Butts 12, the Midget Aloy from Smallville Sabine, the former freeloader Christian, Master Chief himself, Albiscori, Super Sus Ben Fryer, who is a clone of Eddie, the Star Wars Encyclopedia, Adam Sunling, Raj Vanderlin, he's got a plan, guys, you just got to follow him on one last job, the Filthy FIFA Fanatic, Joe McCormack, Juicy Left Nut 69, great name, and he added me on PSN, so I now have Juicy Left Nut on my PSN. My life is complete.
My Juicy Left Nut just arrived.
Exactly, my life is complete, honestly. And either... because I don't know which one to decide on for the name here, so you guys are going to have to help me out. Even Kevin,
I wish we could have brainstormed this before you went live with it, but go for it.
Kevin, the number one simp...
I'm digging it.
...of Xbox, or Kevin, the Arthur Morgan simp. We'll have to decide on which one we like there.
We definitely got to keep simping there, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're new around here, by the way, the higher up you climb in our supporter tier, just the level of savagery that you receive for no real additional benefit.
No.
Just increases dramatically. And, part of the thing is you get the Patreon Discord room. So only patrons can get in there.
It's worse in there.
It's worse. It's a direct line to us where we just shit on you. That's basically how it works. So I hope you need to be a simp. Yeah, you need to be a... He
messaged me just like whoever becomes a Super Bro patron. I messaged him. I was like, hey, bro, thank you very much. You're really supporting the bros. Thank you so much. By the way, we're going to talk shit about you. So...
yeah, you need to...
What are your likes and stuff like that so I can figure something out? And he started off by saying, something you're probably going to be mad at me, Eddie. I'm an Xbox pleb. And I was like, that's it. Cancel your subscription.
Yeah, let's just refund that. Get out. No, don't even refund it. Just kick him out.
Just kick him out.
Kick him out.
Anyway, he's an awesome guy. And let me know which one you prefer, Kevin. And everyone in the chat as well. You guys can let us know.
Whichever one he prefers, obviously, we're going to pick the other one, right?
The other one, yeah.
And now he doesn't know. If we know that he knows, that we know that we're going to pick whatever he doesn't want us to pick.
Mind games. We're like Latinas. We're playing mind games with
Never
you.
go up against a Sicilian when death is on us. You don't get this. That's a Princess Bride quote.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're talking about gaming, but I'm going to beef you out about not seeing the Princess Bride after this. So Returnal,
Yes.
and RE Village.
Yes, 2 games I've been playing.
How are you feeling about them?
I played Returnal on stream.
Yeah,
So
you
not
did.
Returnal, RE Village
played
on
both
stream.
on stream, yeah.
RE Village on stream with my girlfriend. We played the first like 2-ish hours or so.
I saw a bit of that.
And it starts off really well. Really well.
I gotta say, I haven't played a Resident Evil since like the original 1 or 2 or something, right? And I never finished them, which just wasn't my thing. But I rented it at Blockbuster, played a bit. It wasn't my thing.
These kids don't know what Blockbuster is, but go ahead.
Right. But the graphics look incredible. And one of the things that I have to say from watching you play RE8 is things that I think a lot of people will overlook and just, it's like the good movie soundtrack, right? You just don't notice it. The lighting is really sinister and creepy. The design of like how much you can't see, but how much you can infer is there. So that stuff is done incredibly well. The sound design, weird things like you came out of a house, like you were coming to a place, and I think Adriana even picked up that this horse was killed just now, like it's steaming.
Yeah.
You went in, explored something, came back out, and if you hadn't looked sideways, you wouldn't have clocked it. But you do, and you're like, wait, the horse isn't there anymore. There's dead a horse. A horse is like 1,000 kilos.
Yeah.
Easy, maybe 2, right? And it's gone.
It's like, that's just, and it's so sinister because there wasn't much of a noise.
There was no noise, there was no rustling.
It's just disappeared.
Yeah.
Something that can easily lift that thing and take it away was just here. And I didn't notice it.
It was very creepy.
Very creepy.
It was very creepy. And
It's filled with stuff like that.
again, not my cup of tea, but I respect it. Talking of tea, what's going on with Twitter? Fuck, we're talking about gaming. But, so have you played any more? How are you feeling about it?
It's really cool. Like you said, the visuals of it, everything like that is really beautiful. And I like specifically the acting in it. The voice acting and the performance capture of everything and stuff like that is top notch, and it looks so great.
Yeah.
We've been introduced to Lady D. We've been introduced to her daughters. Just my missus got involved in the simping as well. So
Does she simp Lady D?
She simps the daughters more than Lady D.
Okay.
So out of goodwill, I will be there with her when she's fantasizing about the daughters.
Yeah, it makes sense.
To support my girlfriend.
Her.
Exactly.
Support.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we'll do it together. But the sound design as well, like you said, absolutely amazing. We've been using the 3D audio while we've been playing, and it's just nuts.
I was because we had Netflix up. My chick wanted to watch some movie. I don't know what it was. It was like a girly movie, like Step
Legally
Up to
Blonde.
the Streets or something like that, right?
Step up to the streets, okay.
And so I had my headphones in, watching the stream and chatting in the chat. And even on my like £3 Samsung headphones, you went down into a basement or something, and then something like skittered across the ceiling. I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, it's like that, boy.
And so I'm looking forward to listening to stuff like that. Not Resident Evil, I don't think, but like anything using 3D audio, like with my Krakens.
Yeah.
Because it's we're in the next gen.
We are, boy.
We're getting there.
This is it. Next gen has now become current gen.
Yeah.
We're in it, boys.
It's cool.
It's fantastic. Anyone out there who hasn't played it, there's tons of people that have already finished it because it's not a very long game. It's like 9 to 10 hours, something like that. Katie Played it all on the first day, beat the whole game in 2 hours. She's just amazing like that. That's how she does it.
I know for a fact she's played it at least twice.
Yeah.
She was saying she's got a speed run it for the platinum. You have to beat it in a certain point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. All right, that's something.
She's a savage though, and not in like a good way. She's a savage like addict. You know, it's that in The Sims.
And if you've seen the way she makes tea, it's just awful. That's a funny.
That's not going to make sense in like 2022.
No. People who watch this afterwards, like, do you know what? They're talking about Resident Evil. Let me go back and watch this. Why are they talking about tea?
Yeah.
Go to my Twitter. You'll see the video I made about tea and how to make it correctly. You guys should educate yourselves.
That was very good.
And it was very cool, right? The other game that I've been playing, Returnal, as you said. I've been playing still a lot of Returnal.
Yeah.
I'm getting my ass handed to me.
Yeah. I've seen your streams.
Not just the game, but also with glitches.
Like actual glitches.
Yes.
Oh no.
So there's been a couple of times where
welcome to Jedi Fallen Order, blood.
Welcome to Sheps' every game experience, I should say.
But this is the thing. It's not just games. I seem to have that like that side of the universe is attracted to me, like bad luck.
Yeah.
Not bad luck, like nothing major, but like I'm the guy that hits red lights often, you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Or get stuck behind learner drivers or whatever. And it happens in gaming as well. And
games.
you get to see it.
I do. And now I get to witness it for myself,
Yeah.
having it be me. A couple of times I've had issues where one time I got stuck in a teleporter. It went to a certain place and then the screen just got stuck pointing in one direction. I couldn't do
Yeah.
anything. Everything
Had
else was
stuff like
going
that before,
fine.
yeah.
I was like, that's bullshit. And another time I
Oh.
put the game in rest mode, and when I came back, the HUD was there and I could move around in the world, but I couldn't see the world. It was just a black screen. And I was interacting with something. I found like an item and I went up to it and it's like, yeah, scout log, blah, blah, blah. Or I see enemies on the mini map and I'm like there, but I couldn't see anything. So I was stuck there.
With a game like that, because it's a roguelite,
Yes.
you have to reboot it, don't you? Until you lose all your progress.
That's the big issue. Now, any other game, I'd be very lenient. I wouldn't give a crap. It's a glitch. It happens.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
complicated games now. If you are going to make a game where any single tiny little problem is amplified massively because
Yeah.
your game will reset or you have to lose all of your progress, this game better be flawless.
Yeah, it's got to run smooth. And even like, I think generally, because we used to be COD guys, we always said, give it the first week for like server issues because lots of people jumping on. And generally that's been my take for all games, which is you get it. There are bugs.
Which is a bit shit, isn't it? And now, just because we have the day of patches, that now we have to wait for a game to actually be functional a week later.
The way I look at it, it's funny that you're like that and I'm being like the lenient one.
Normally it's the other way around.
The way I look at it is that you only have so many testers in the development process, right?
Yes.
And so when a game goes out and 1 million people buy it, suddenly a lot of things are exposed that could not have possibly been found with a team of 50 bug hunters.
Yeah.
You know, because they just don't know what happens when this one item that interacts with their online store or something online. What happens when 50,000 people go to find it on day one, right?
The sheer number of people playing it, someone's going to find those tiny little bugs that never would have been found.
Like, what if, you know, collecting an item, but you jump when you pick it up, does something weird, right? And none of the testers would have done that, right? Stuff like that. So I give them that first week. But I feel like that's fine for a game like, let's say, Call of Duty.
Yeah.
For a roguelite, which again, not normally my kind of thing, where you are punished so harshly when you die, which is the kind of the fun of the game, that is also a much harsher review if you're punished for something the game does incorrectly. It's got to work.
Yeah, that's my issue with this, is that because of the game type that you've chosen to make, there's other things that come with it, and you just have to deal with it. If you fucked up and you haven't made a game that's 100% stable, then that's on you guys. And I hate giving shit to Housemarque because they seem like a nice development company, and they've made a genuinely good game here. As I said,
it's
without those
it looks
glitches,
really incredible.
I really love it. I'm telling you, Game of the Year candidate for the times that I'm playing it. But just it's so disheartening. I think the time when I got the glitch where the screen went black, I was on a 3-hour run, so 3 hours of progress just disappeared there.
That's the thing as well. So I don't know, because it isn't my style of game. Actually, thinking about the type of people that play it, I feel like this is incorrect. But for me, if I was playing a game like that and I was punished really harshly for those sorts of glitches, I'd find it much easier to put it down and walk away from it.
Yeah.
Then again, those people are the masochists in it. You like the pain.
That's the thing. I came back to it straight away. I didn't even go, you know what, I'm going to take a break. I was like, no, I'm going to continue playing, so I like the pain.
Because I know for a fact, I always come back to this, but you played the Last of Us 1 Ungrounded for a little thing to pop up and give you a trophy, right?
Excuse me. Give it the respect it deserves for the great achievement of a trophy.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
But so, like, you did that without anyone watching. You weren't making content on it. You just did it because you did it, right? You're the kind of guy that likes to do that sort of stuff. So I don't know if roguelite players really would just be like, I'm putting this away. I'm never touching it again.
Because they're built like that, right?
Yeah, you just built different, you know?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Anyway, other than that, though, the game is actually fantastic.
Yeah.
I've got progress in it. I've got to the third boss level.
And
And
how are the boss fights?
They are quite cool.
Okay.
They are quite cool. They're all like a little bit varied. They do different stuff. The one that I'm on right now is you have to jump from floating platforms while he shoots you, and you have to shoot him back. And it's just like,
that's cool.
Oh, Jesus Christ, it's too much to think about.
That is the sort of thing that a scuff controller would be really beneficial. Having those back paddles, or if Sony actually comes out with that slot-in back thing, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
That'd be really good. Talking of boss fights, my stream knows that I enjoy a boss fight with vengeance.
Explain this to people, because I only saw the people chatting shit in the chat. I didn't understand what was going on. Explain what happened there.
So we were playing Ghost of Tsushima. We're playing it on hard, relax, and we got to the Khan fight, and the first part of the Khan fight's good fun.
Yeah,
because it's a duel. And there's something in the game where he has lines that he has to say. It's just part of the way he does. You can't skip him saying it, right? But if you interrupt him, like either with an attack or a block or anything like that, he restarts the dialogue. And this happened a bunch of times, and I had difficulty in this one fight, bizarrely. I think we were talking about it. I think so. Somehow I had forgot that the blue attacks. So if you haven't played the game, when NPCs or enemies attack you, there's just regular attacks, one where like a blue light shines and one where a red light shines. Red's unblockable. You have to dodge out of the way. And blue, you can parry. Now, in my head, I had that as it was blockable.
Yeah.
Right? It was like a very strong attack that you now had the ability to block. For some reason, that was in my head. And bizarrely, I think the reason that I was suffering was not because I'm really bad at the game, but I'm like pretty okay at it. And so I'd managed to get all the way up to there, because we did a bunch of duels afterwards, and I iced them every single guy first try, right?
Yeah.
Every single guy. And the duels aren't easy. They're not boss fights, but they're not like regular guys. They're tough.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I can do that it had allowed me to not know that was a parry and not a block, right?
Yeah.
And so when it came to a boss fight, and I'm like, I'm blocking.
Why is it not blocking? Why is it just powering through my block?
And there was one thing, and we also had this with Spider-Man when I played it with you, which was sometimes I'll see a cue and I'll do the thing, but as far as the game's concerned, it's not in its window. Like I react, not I have like fighter pilot reflexes, but I see the thing and I react to it, and the game doesn't consider it inside of its window because I'm too early. Yeah. And I was like going to parry it, but because I was up there already, it was then considered a block, and the attack can get through the block. So it was really frustrating. And so we died, I don't know, let's say 10 times, probably more, 10 to 15 times. But this vengeance thing happened maybe every single time.
So you were like stopping a conversation, a line of dialogue, and because you were interrupting it, he went to go repeat it.
For 15 attempts.
Wow.
Vengeance. It was rough. It was rough. And then I unironically got my ass handed to me by Lord Shimura.
Yeah, I saw that.
He beat me bad. He roughed me up.
Hey, he's a badass.
He's tough.
Don't say shit about it.
And that's the highlight fight of the whole game, by the way. That fight is because for me the end of the
fucked Khan Maker.
For me the end of the for me, I think of the Khan as the big bad, but the real fight that matters to you is the Lord Shimura fight, and it's not only is it a really rewarding fight, it's good fun. Man, is that emotionally heavy, and I'm actually annoyed that I forget about that fight and think about the Khan fight because it's a little bit underwhelming. Because that final fight, but you can't tell people, fight Lord Shimura, right? You can't
tell them that. It spoils the whole game,
right? If they don't if someone's like, I've never played this before, blah blah. I wouldn't lead with, and fighting this guy, because he's the guy you go to save in the beginning. I know some of you haven't played it, get fucked.
You just got ruined. I'm sorry, guys. Just if you have a problem with that, write into Sheps on his Twitter. Hashtag Sheps is a bastard. That's his official Twitter handle. And let you know he's disgusting.
So,
disgusting.
So the boss fights in Returnal are good. RE8, you're enjoying it. Yeah.
Yes, I am. And you're enjoying Ghost of Tsushima by the
We beat it.
Did it finish now? Yeah,
we finished.
So you're finally going to put that to bed, and you're going to stream
me getting the platinum of it.
Okay, I was gonna say,
be honest,
what's the next bit, because you did say also you wanted to get the platinum, but you've only ever streamed, it seems, in
Yeah.
my memory anyway.
I do.
Ghost of Tsushima.
I do quite like that game.
It's a great game.
I do. I absolutely love it. And I hate that there's just a couple of little story things that don't make it like perfect, but to me it is almost a perfect game. I freaking love that game. I am considering getting the platinum. Ghost of Tsushima is one of those games that's never going like in my drawer of games that I keep. You know?
Got him, boys. We got him. We're in his mind.
It's not for the platinum. It's for the game. I want to do it so it helps the game's stats. You know.
That's how it started for me. I don't know if it will happen with you, but I was always like, I'm
not invested in most other games.
Not with Thief. That one I did for a different reason.
You did that for the Superman simping, but yeah.
But other games, I was like, I really like this game. I'm gonna platinum it. I really like it. And then it just went on and on and on, and now I'm an official trophy whore, and all the time, and that's the only reason to play games.
A lot of people have platinumed Ghost of Tsushima, as it turns out.
Yes,
it's the completion rate is, I think it's over 50%, which if you don't know, that is insanely high. That is, I think there's one game that's got more than that. I can't remember what it is, but it is. Oh, it's Spider-Man.
Yeah,
it's either Spider-Man 4 or Miles Morales.
Okay,
but that is the only game I believe in the world. Or maybe PS exclusive, but it's insanely high. The people that have finished Ghost of Tsushima, and when you think half of everybody that bought it finished it, and then 15% went and platinumed it, that's insane.
That is pretty damn insane.
That's a lot of people, but I don't think I'm going to subject the stream to that. I'm never. Ghost of Tsushima is never going away in a drawer for me.
Yeah,
it's going to stay next to my PlayStation because it's always a go-to for me.
Yes.
I downloaded Control.
Yeah.
Because a few people mentioned it. I asked for some titles that are relatively short. I think Control is 13 hours if you just mainline the story.
Oh, not too bad then, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I wanted something that we could start and complete on stream between now and Ratchet & Clank, which is about four weeks.
Yeah.
So that's totally doable. You talk about Control a lot and how much you enjoy it and like it. So we have that. And if we finish it too quickly or don't... Yeah, I think if you were to finish it too quickly, we can come back to Ghost of Tsushima and just do some stuff. My only beef actually with Ghost of Tsushima as a RPG, you know, when you're playing it and you're not on the Legends mode, is I wish you could come back and redo the duels, like fight the ghosts.
Do them all again.
Yeah.
That's a New Game Plus type sort of thing like that. Be a little bit better. I was just looking at PSN profiles that have all like stats for trophies and stuff like that. Ghost of Tsushima, of people who are on PSN profiles, so not all gamers everywhere,
no.
people who are on here, 50.4% of people have got the platinum trophy.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, say that again.
50.4 people that have got the platinum trophy of Ghost of Tsushima of people who are on PlayStation profiles.
Half of PlayStation profiles have the...
Yeah. That's mad, isn't it?
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And just to put it another way for you, Astrobot's Playroom, the one that came with the PS5.
It's free, it's short, it's easy.
Exactly. 62%. So that's a game that came free, short, and easy. And that game, which is cost full price, came out. It was a brand new IP. People didn't know what they were going to get from it. Might not be everyone's cup of tea because there's not many Japanese samurai games out there.
It's niche, yeah.
Turned out it was just amazing and everyone wanted to be in that world.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. Anyway, that's a lot of gaming talk right there. I feel like we've got a lot of gaming done right here.
So maybe Control is the answer to the question.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I forgot you was in the middle of that.
No. Just to quickly sum up, we finished Ghost of Tsushima. I think we're doing Control next on stream.
Good.
And we'll either blast through that or we'll enjoy. I actually want to ask you about that because I only Googled like time to beat. Yeah. And it said like 13 hours for average. So double that for me. How big is the game? Like if I want to do my normal thing of like, ooh, what's in this room? Ooh, what's in this room? Ooh, that thing's shiny.
Not very big.
Okay, good.
There are some...
Thank God.
It's essentially all sets place in like almost like an FBI building. Yeah. Except it's a Bureau of Intelligence, which is like
it's like the MIB.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there are office doors and stuff like that, and some of them are open, some of them aren't, and stuff like that. And there are bits that you could find if you wanted to go searching.
Cool.
But it's not that big that you would get lost, I don't think.
Because I don't really know. The only thing I know about Control is you told me about there's a fridge.
Yes.
And that's it. Like, I don't know the basic premise. I don't know if our protagonist is like, I think it's a woman. I know that.
Yeah.
Who has red hair?
Yeah.
And because I remember seeing that picture. and I know about this fridge, but I don't know if she's supposed to be like a Jill Valentine, just a regular, like a cop kind of chick, or if she's like a superhero or what. I don't know anything, and I'm gonna keep it that way for when we play.
It's gonna be quite cool.
Yeah.
People are gonna get to see your reaction to this like brand new thing.
Also, it's a standalone. There hasn't been another one like before it, so I'm not like missing out on a story or anything.
Brand new.
Cool.
These guys were the guys that made. There was a game that was exclusive to Xbox with the guy who played Iceman in X-Men.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, this is gonna be great. There's gonna be a TV show that goes with it." I forgot what the name of it called is. But they were like, "There's gonna be a TV show with it." But then when Xbox flopped the Xbox One, they were like, "Well, let's just make another game. And how about we don't tie it to one console?"
Yeah, let's not do that.
Anyway, guys. This is the True Gamer Podcast.
That's right.
Coming to your eyes and ears every Saturday at youtube.com/Conbrosations. I think we still haven't managed to work that out because the name's a bit strange.
Yeah.
Also coming to your ears on podcast services around the world. Anywhere you want to go, just search for True Gamer Podcast. If you're over there, if you're on the YouTube video or on the podcast service, you can like the video. You can rate us 5 stars. It helps us out and it helps the channel grow, get to more people, and get inside many more people. As well as that, if you do like us, if you do want to support us and go the extra mile, you can head over to patreon.com/Conbrosations, where you can support us for as little as $1 a month and get exclusive access to the Conversation podcast.
Yeah.
Get early access to this podcast
Yes,
at the $5 tier and so much more. But if you don't want to do that, if you don't have any bucks to toss our way, don't worry about it. We love you regardless. It's totally optional. You can just head over to our Discord server.
Yeah, our Discord server.
It's a great place to be, and you
Totally
can chat
free.
with good guys. Link in the description right there.
For real though, liking the videos, rating us 5 stars on the podcast services, leaving like actual comments like, my favorite topic was this, or you said this, but actually I think it's that. Real comments like that on the videos really help the channel. YouTube just looks at it and goes, that's actual interaction, you know?
Yeah.
So that is genuinely a way that you can support us. This channel isn't currently monetized, will be soon probably, but I actually, before we pimp the True Gamers, I actually don't use adblock.
Oh.
And I choose not to. I choose not to because it's free entertainment. It's free to me, and sitting through 5 seconds and hitting skip isn't too much of an inconvenience. But if you're a person that does use adblock, this is what I wanted to get at. Consider whitelisting your favorite content creators, because it is a way that is free to you, that is barely even a slight inconvenience, that you can pay your content creators and help them continue making great content in a free to you way. Same with like Amazon affiliate links. If you're going to buy something anyway, use your it doesn't have to be us, right? But if you see someone's using it and you like their content or it's helpful to you, use their links, because it's a way that, again, is free to you, but you get to support them if you're not like on Patreon, or you don't have like a Twitch Prime or any of that stuff, which are Twitch Prime, twitch.tv/Conbrosations. But over on patreon.com/Conbrosations, a shadow group appeared.
Oh no.
At the $5 tier, a splinter cell, if you will. That's the only way you're getting Sam Fisher back, is if he joins our Patreon. Who basically said, if you don't make this content, we're blowing the channel up.
We're blowing it up, right?
They held our content hostage. They did, what's that thing in The Witcher called? A Tidum thing? You know?
Yeah.
What was that thing?
Oh, God. A Tidum
Wherever it was.
standoff.
Gun to the head, they were like, make True Gamer content. Just content for gamers, by gamers, for us, the True Gamers. And we were like...
And bring Phil Spencer over.
That's right, pro-consumer. And we were like, we'll take your money. We'll make your content.
But won't be happy about it.
Or nice to you. Who are our True Gamers?
Our True Gamers who support us are Jeremy Horde, Sab2557, Real Kermit Cinema, rather, Record Friction.
I love that you fuck up one before Record Friction.
I know.
Because if you fricked up on Record Friction,
It'd be a good joke.
yeah.
But it's not.
The joke is that you can't make it to Record Friction to
That's
make
the joke now, yeah. Real Kermit Cinema, Record Friction, Adam Sunling, Isak Manny, Dan Dano, Cats Coral, Doc Nutella, Super Whale Ben, Albie Scory, Kevin Crow, Joe McCormack, Diogo, Kevin Crow again? For some reason twice?
We're going to double check with you, Kevin, and check that you didn't paid twice.
Yeah, that's a weird one. I don't know why it's there twice. Anyway, Kevin Crow twice. Hey man, where the fuck is Mario Judah?
Hold on a minute. It's hey man,
because he is Australian as well. Hey man, where the fuck is Mario Judah though? Juicy Left Nut, Benedict Clobbers, Zack Snyder's son, aka Batfan, Fishy, the Jackal, Vanda, one of our new bros.
Yeah, boy.
Cobra SS, Jack Nicholas, and Max H. Thank you, bros, so much for keeping this True Gamer podcast going, supporting us, and sending us your love. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we love you. We do appreciate you, and it really does help. Like, it's hard for people to clock, but everything you see, the way you're viewing us and stuff, it is almost entirely paid for through the Patreon, because this current channel isn't yet monetized. We're in the growth phase, it's starting to get there, but we need like 100 more subs or something. The old channel makes very little because what videos are still monetized, Shadow Band.
They're great. They're beautiful stuff. They're the best videos on the internet.
But so like the armchairs, so that we can be fresh for the whole podcast, for the whole day of recording, the new cameras, the streaming rig that you use for your streams.
The third time he's going to go through all the list of things that you guys have bought, guys.
Well, it's a thank you.
Yes.
You know,
no, don't get me wrong. You're such a nice guy that you're going to do it 3 times. This is the thing. Sheps, you guys don't know. He's an asshole, right? But when it comes to you guys, he really does
don't
genuinely
ever admit
love
that.
you.
You can't prove that. You can't prove that.
He does genuinely
You can't
love
prove
you.
that. You're going to ruin my brand.
Sorry, he's an asshole. He's a suit. Pay more money.
Give me your money.
Anyway, guys, today's topics on the True Gamer podcast include PlayStation's new VR headset specs have been allegedly leaked, how Ubisoft is moving to making more free-to-play games so they can microtransaction the duck out of you,
Quack.
and how there are a load more PlayStation games coming our way for the PlayStation 5 generation. And also at the end, we're going to have a little discussion about whether or not reviewers are required to finish games before they make a review.
Heated already.
Hold on to the heat, boy. Hold on to the heat. Okay, guys.
Okay,
So,
what do you want to start with?
our first topic I think we're going to go for is that PlayStation themselves have said that there are 25 guys, games in development for the PlayStation 5 over the generation. And nearly half of them, are new IPs.
Ooh.
How do you feel about that? Especially because we just got news that like Sony aren't gambling with many games and whatnot. Yeah. They're only going to be making what is already established, which is like 4 studios, blah, blah, blah. It's quite good news.
First of all, that's very good news. And I feel like that statement is probably true, but we're lacking context for it.
Go ahead.
You know?
Do you need more information? Because I do have some information. So
yeah, we'll go through it.
But
just that... saying they're not gambling, they're only doing established stuff.
Right.
But yet they have 12 titles that are brand new IPs. Right.
Yeah.
So I think what we were missing in that was the context for what is established. Like, what are they talking about? The recipe, the format, the length, all sorts of stuff like that. They're not gambling with because they know what works. But if
quotes can be always taken out of context and misunderstood and whatnot. So
exactly, like I think there's quotes of you and me saying stuff, and there's no way we just be like, "Yeah, come in my eye."
No, we would never say something like, "Just throw it down my throat, daddy."
Exactly.
No, I mean that out of context that could mean something, but we don't do that kind of stuff.
Exactly, we don't, and so it's very easy to take these quotes out of context. And fuck, I'm gonna lose.
D's already on making
for sure.
Already. He's already there.
So it's interesting because I'm thinking back on like the brand new IPs that they've brought out, and it's like the 2 that stick in my mind are Horizon and Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Both games, nothing before them.
Yeah,
I will say I feel like both those are really good because there have not been very many post-apocalyptic games in general. Like, and I mean like real like The Last of Us is probably the one that stands out. Not too many other than that.
Yeah,
and none with robo dinosaurs.
Nope.
And then Ghost of Tsushima, there's not a huge amount of like, I wouldn't even call it, it's not really a hack and slash, but like sword melee fighting historical games. Not a huge amount.
And from PlayStation, 0.
Exactly. And so these are 2 games with no basis, and what do? They absolutely smashed it. For as much as I dislike certain things about Horizon, I love the aesthetic. I think it's got a huge potential as a game. I have a few queries about the protagonist, but other than that, like, man, what a great looking title. So I'm down. You know, they
I'm
seem
down as well.
like they haven't made any missteps in continuing IPs.
No.
And they haven't made any in brand new IPs. Now, I don't expect all 25 to be bangers.
Yeah, it's a tough situation, isn't it? Because like PlayStation's doing so well.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like when our friend who works for Apple,
Yes.
I spoke with him and he was like, okay, I need to figure out when I need to leave this because surely Apple
Right.
can't go forever making more. Eventually you have to make a misstep. And it's the same with PlayStation.
Yeah.
When are they going to suddenly go, drop the ball?
Well,
And I don't mean just a hiccup, but like gone.
it
When
depends.
are they going to pull a full Microsoft?
It depends, though. Because if they can make a few hiccups and start dropping,
Yeah.
but as long as they have one really great core product, it won't matter. Like Apple's done this a bunch. Apple's brought out a bunch of garbage. Apple has brought out a bunch of garbage.
It's true.
And I'm not talking about like when they did printers back when they got rid of Steve Jobs and then brought him back out. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking in recent years, right?
Yeah.
And then what do? They go back to the stuff that makes them their money. It's their laptops, their computers, their phones.
Good point.
You know, but there's been a bunch. I bet if I was to think about it, I can't off the top of my head, but I bet I could name you 5 products that are like, what? Does anybody remember that?
I can think of one off the top of my head that was a stupid design. The Magic Mouse thing they've got.
Perfect.
The fucking charging point is underneath it.
Yeah.
So if it runs out of battery, you can't use it.
You can't use it. You can't charge it. Yeah. Like dumb stuff like that. But also I feel like there are 3, but I can't remember what they are. 3 products that just flopped. They just didn't do anything. You can't.
There's probably, I mean, there's not nothing coming to mind right now, but I'm sure there's players that have come out and they're like, fuck it, we have to get rid of that. Just get rid of that shit.
My point is that let's say they're bringing out 25. Let's say 5 titles are bangers.
Yeah.
Let's say we have 5 in that God of War range, right? We get like God of War, Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon, you know, something like that. The other 20 don't have to be even very good. They can be like true average games, like a true 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Not good, not bad. Just like, yeah, this is a game.
Like a Game Pass game. It could just be okay.
Right. Yeah, just literally okay.
Yeah.
And as long as it's exclusive, somewhat entertaining, and doesn't like brick consoles, those 5 games are going to carry the entire generation.
Yeah.
Because do you remember, like no one really thinks about NAC other than as a joke, right?
Hey, yo.
See what I mean?
Hey.
But like,
yes,
but like, what are the games you think of? You think of The Last of Us. You think of Uncharted.
Yeah.
So you bring out a few of those, and it carries the entire generation, and like kind of rubs out with its elbow the marks that it left in its timeline. You know?
That's a good way of putting
So,
it. Yeah.
I think we need 5. So what's that? 20% of these games to be genuinely good games. 8+ out of 10.
That's a good way of thinking of it, actually, because at the end of the day, this generation's probably going to go, what, 7 years?
That's about the average, right?
Yeah. One game a year that's truly amazing, that wins Game of the Year, is probably enough.
It's doable as well.
If you can go to 2, that'd be fantastic. But not every year as well has to have 2. Maybe you go 2 this year, 2 years you only have one good game, and then 2 years after.
I'm saying 5. I'm saying we can have 2 years where there's nothing to play, as long as it's not the last year.
Yeah.
Which is the important thing, because everybody's going to forget that this first year there was kind of a glut of stuff to play in 5 years' time.
Yeah.
Right? So 5 really good titles. God of War 5 bangs. Horizon Forbidden West bangs. Like Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
I am a fan of that franchise. I don't think Rift Apart actually needs to be very good. I don't think it needs to be a Game of the Year contender for it to do what it needs to do and showcase everything and be fun and enjoyable. I don't think a Ratchet and Clank has ever won Game of the Year, actually. Off the top of my head, it's not what that game's intended to do. I know that sounds strange.
Yeah.
But like, it just has to be good, innocent fun and look amazing and play smooth for it to do exactly what it needs to do. And it doesn't have to be one of those 5, but it can still be a great game and everybody enjoys it. Do you know what I mean? Like we're in a surprisingly, Sony has positioned themselves in a way where they have a lot of elbow room to mess up and to do really ambitious projects, and it not matter if they sink, as long as they don't brick consoles.
I was going to say,
because Sony's the guys that push stuff forward. Sony are the guys that they've made the DualSense, they've done the 3D audio, right? Yeah. And this isn't a bash on Xbox, but Sony historically are the guys that are trying to push the tech in that way, and hopefully Xbox will adopt that stuff next gen.
Did you see after the PlayStation came out, there was that report
report on
coming out to people saying, "Oh, what is it about the DualSense that you like?"
Right.
So they're like clearly taking notes.
Right.
They're like, "Okay, we need to do something like this."
Yeah, and they shouldn't. And ultimately, it's a good idea. Like, I like the fact that anything good gets ripped off immediately. I want that Ghost of Tsushima, the wind thing, I want that in games.
Yeah.
That needs to be in games. The Apex ping system, it needs to be in games.
Yeah.
Right? The DualSense, that needs to be the way that Xbox, I'm telling you, deal with the lawsuit and put it in the next controller.
Yeah.
Just steal it and put it in the next controller. Do it. Seriously, do it. And then you can spin the propaganda and be like, oh, we're pushing gaming forward. Like, for you, pro-consumer, the game is for game. I don't care, but Xbox players need that sensation. You need it, and it's fantastic. So because they have that elbow room, they can do a couple of ambitious things and have them flop. Try a new tech, like the 6-axis. If they never did the 6-axis, maybe we get it this gen and it sucks. Do you know what I mean? Like, but now they did it, and I bet the 6-axis is like the first stepping stone towards the DualSense.
Probably, it's definitely one of them things that because before that it was just pressing buttons.
Yeah.
That's all it was. And then they went, how can we make controllers more interactive? And then it probably went going on and it iterated and iterated and got better. And they were like, what else can we put in it? And now we have the DualSense.
Also, I bet they have a bunch of data on what were the more successful games that used it. What were the best bits in those games where people really enjoyed using or used it the most or had it switched on? Okay, so we know these features people like it for, and you can transplant that. And there's all sorts of stuff. So 5 bangers is all that they need.
That's actually a really good way of putting it. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, what games could they talk about? And I sort of pulled out the obvious ones: Ragnarok, Forbidden West. The next Ghost of Tsushima, probably Spider-Man coming up, stuff like that. And I wrote it down, and I was like, there's like a good 15 then that we don't know about. And obviously there's nearly half new IPs that no way we would know about.
We can't even guess that.
And obviously included in this is going to probably be some second party games that are not made by PlayStation but published by PlayStation. Probably some indie games in there as well, stuff like that. But these are most importantly exclusive games, and that's the main part. And I'm fucking excited for it.
It's going to be good fun, and I hope this is the thing that I think is important, is that people need to be able to play with the technology that Sony has made. So I think a good way to put it is like gameplay. The devs make the game, but they're typically not the best in the world at the game. Right? It's up to, like, I don't see any dev coming up with 360 ladder school YY no scopes. Right? So once you put the tool in the hands of the tradesman, then you see what they actually come up with. Right? And I think the DualSense 3D audio, all of that stuff is great as a tool. Now let's see what give it to the devs and let them run with it. And some of them are going to fail hard. Somebody, though, you give it Kojima probably, is going to make people actually shit their pants. and I want that to be a reality. I want a warning. You might no, this isn't a joke. People in testing, people actually shit themselves.
We found people who shit themselves.
We had a double Medal of Honor award-winning Green Beret literally shit his pants.
Speaking of that, in this article that was from Wired, who was talking about the 25 game, a bunch of other things, there was a little thing they were talking about Horizon Forbidden West still coming out for 2021, still being slept on. So they like reconfirmed that.
I still think that's bullshit, but
it's a bit strange, and it's like we still haven't seen much.
We're halfway through the year, and we haven't had another trailer.
Maybe it's the silence, like absence makes the heart grow fonder type thing they're trying to go for. Anyway, they go Guerrilla Studios director Ains Smets credits the DualSense haptic capabilities with allowing special source well beyond the fast travel and graphical fidelity. If you want to take stealth approach to a combat situation and you dive into long grass, you can feel the grass leaves on the controller. Now, that might be a foreign concept to somebody who hasn't got a DualSense controller. But after playing these games that have utilized it, you're like, Oh
I
my
can
God,
feel
this
it in
is
my
gonna be
hands how that's going to
amazing.
feel, and it's going to be incredible.
Do you know what I did yesterday? I was in Returnal, and when the rain drops in that thing, you can feel it on your
Yeah,
controller.
yeah.
I set my controller down on the table, and I shit you not, I thought it was raining outside from the
Yeah.
vibrations that it was making. I was like,
The cheeky thing is, it's not just vibrations. The controller gives us very high quality audio.
it's
It's almost imperceptible, but it adds a little.
yeah.
But you also, because you can feel it, and it's so good.
This is gonna be great.
But that's the thing as well, right? I was thinking, Horizon, it's going to be really good for the bow. The
Yeah.
bow's going to feel great. But then you forget that these devs, they want to do it for going through the grass, for going through like hanging not leaves. What do you call that? The things Tarzan
Vine?
swings on, vines.
There you go.
Like, that's also why I'm not playing God of War 4 again until we get the haptic.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have to play it another time afterwards. But I want that to be my peak God of War memory.
Understandable,
You know?
yeah.
Same with The Witcher. I really badly want to play The Witcher again, but I'm not doing it until we get the update, because I want to see the upgraded graphics, frame rate, load times.
I wonder how different it's going to be. I hope they're making us wait for it, and they made a big deal about it. So you'd think it would be big. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
we died a few times in the Ghost of Tsushima boss battles.
Did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was very almost glitch like.
I probably didn't know.
But the fun thing is, between those, I'd pause it and read chat. I think it was Sean was like, "Whoa, hold on a minute," because we died and we're like instantly back in the game. And I was saying, like, one of the things about the load times is it kind of upsets your rhythm sometimes, because you're back in so quickly.
Yeah.
And I think this might become a thing where they make an arbitrary timestamp for those load windows, because like the fast travel, seconds. That respawn, like back into the boss fight, second. And when I say seconds, I mean like 4.
You know how like you press a fast travel and you take a deep breath in because you come into a next area, like
Right.
maybe stretch your arm out. It's like, whoa, shit, I'm ready.
Yeah,
innit?
you don't have time to
Go-
stretch.
God damn
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
Speaking of PlayStation exclusive games,
Yeah.
this came up today, and I just wanted to read this out. Justin Davis, I wish I hadn't said the name. Justin Davis, anyway, from IGN,
Okay.
wrote this tweet out.
Yeah.
And a couple of other IGN people wrote this tweet out, so it seems a little bit suspicious. As if they wrote
Okay.
that paper. Anyway, he goes, since the launch of Next Gen, I've done a complete 180 at this point. I wouldn't recommend the PS5 to people, not until it has more games. Get an Xbox Series X and sign up for Game Pass. And he goes on to say, I play a Xbox game literally every night, and I haven't turned on my PS5 in 2 months. Returnal looks great, but it's $70. Game Pass is too good to ignore. The PS5 library will get there someday. And I took this and I wrote IGN level of thinking, first
Okay,
of all.
good. We
I wrote,
agree.
The Xbox One and Xbox 360 games are apparently current gen games now.
Right.
Apparently. Whereas, and I was the current gen game console, and the PS5 has no games. I must have imagined playing Demon's Souls, Returnal, Mars Morales, Astro, and all these other games and whatnot. Because
Yeah.
I love the way he considers all of Xbox's old games, all the backwards compatibility stuff, the stuff that happened on the Xbox One, all current gen games for Xbox.
Yeah. I mean, it's well known the PS5 can't play PS4 titles.
No, it
well
can't.
known.
It's impossible.
Well known.
We've
Can't be done.
got PlayStation 5s. It
Yeah.
just sits there collecting dust.
Yeah, there's nothing. I use it for Netflix now.
Exactly.
Because there's nothing to play on it.
There's not much.
Whatever this guy's name was, your name is as forgettable as your shit takes.
And what's really funny is that you go to the replies, it's literally everyone going, "Are you an idiot?"
Also, and here's one of the things that I wanna touch on. One, let's say you do agree with that,
Yeah.
and I don't mean like as a take, like you just think, yeah, there's not enough games. I want a next gen console or current gen console, but PS5 isn't there yet. I'll get one later, maybe when they're cheaper.
Sure.
Get the Series S for one. Save yourself some money, because there's not a huge amount of titles on the Xbox platform right now. It's not really worth, even consider like a Xbox One X.
Yeah.
Because it's close enough. Anyway,
That was the thing that
Save a
confused
bit of
me.
money.
It's just this, like, the way he's acting is like there's no games on the PS5,
Yeah.
where there are all these games on the Xbox. It's like there are if more next gen games
There are more.
on PlayStation 5. And if you're going to be counting previous gen games, then there's the previous gen library as well for the PS. The one that has sold 120 million consoles, that library
Yeah, there's
What the
another
point
thing.
is that?
Another thing is you can get the PlayStation 5
Yeah.
by PS Plus, and it comes with Astros, which is a really fun game.
PS Plus
The
collection.
PS
as well,
Plus
isn't it?
collection alone
Yeah.
has a handful of the greatest games ever made.
Yeah.
God of War 4, greatest game ever made.
Ever made.
Best game ever made. The Last of Us Remastered.
Yep.
Incredible game. Persona 5, I haven't played it, but Persona 5, I think that's the highest rated PlayStation game of all time.
Yes, it is.
Detroit Become Human. Like, is Horizon on there?
Horizons was free or is free right now for the Days of Play, but it's not on the collection.
Right, yeah. And even I got that. Like, I'm not going to let Horizon get away from me. It's free. At that price, even I will take it.
I want that
right?
redhead.
Right. She's my type, apparently. I have my type is women.
I was gonna say you have many types. That's gonna be a thing.
Like,
I just hate the way that this guy said this here.
It feels like that's a lie to me. It feels like it's disingenuous. Like, even Dan, like one of our super bros, who makes, in my opinion, one of the most compelling arguments for Xbox. I think we could say he's on Team Xbox overall. I think he has both, but he's more Team Xbox. Yeah. I don't think he would be like, oh yeah, there's nothing to play. The PS Plus collection, that can compete with Game Pass in quality. I would say it smashes it.
Yeah.
And 25 titles, if let's say you were to play those 25, by that point, there'll be something to play.
Yeah.
You know, even not God of War, Persona, Horizon, Last of Us.
Those games again, yeah.
Those games will probably take you to Ratchet and Clank.
They'll get you there for sure.
Right? And then Returnal. Like, also, and this is a point because you said Returnal $70. What you said about Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And how the motion capping's so good. The acting is so good. Now, I know it's not an exclusive, but it goes to Returnal, which is the mocapping is so good. The motion is so fluid.
Yeah.
The DualSense 5 integration. The 3D audio. These games can't come out at the price that we were used to.
Yeah.
You know, they cost so much more now to make.
Mm-hmm.
And the unfortunate reality is that means that you either have to go pre-owned or reduce your number of games, or find, because we're doing this with Mass Effect, we're doing the share thing, so we're halving the cost of our games. Instead of it being 50 quid for each of us, it's 25 quid each, because we're buying one copy and splitting it digitally. Now, the digital stuff doesn't work for everybody, but it's sort of kind of a way around that a bit. But the idea that there's nothing to play on the PS5, let's say this, there's not a lot of current gen titles on the PS5. That's true. But the idea that there's nothing to play on your PS5, Ghost of Tsushima is a different game because we just finished it. 60 FPS, so much more fun. Those load times, oh my God. God of War, I bet. How was your experience with God of War on PS5?
Fantastic.
Better than on the PS4 Pro. Yeah. Of course it was, because it's on a PS5. Do you know what I mean? Like, any game you enjoyed on the PS4 is better to play on the PS5. It just runs so much better. It's so good. It's so good. And the PS Plus collection is incredible. And you don't need PS Plus if you want to play Fortnite, right? Or Warzone. Just get on, download it, play it. You don't even need to pay for it, but you actually do.
It's not available on the PS5, is it? This guy's saying there's no game, so must be misremembering.
I forgot. You also can't use Netflix and Amazon and video.
There's no point in having one, bro. There's no point in having. Stop trying to convince people otherwise.
I'm sorry. I'm just a Sony suit. I work for Sony.
Fucking Sony pony, you rather than. Our next topic.
That's so stupid.
Some of you guys may notice I'm using my timer right here. I'm trying to get better with the timestamps, but they're so difficult after the fact, so I'm getting rough times here. Our next topic is a court document out of the Apple versus Epic case and whatnot. Shows that Epic offered Sony $200 million to get up to 6 of their first-party PlayStation games on PC. And they declined.
Well, yeah.
That's a very interesting one because I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Thank Jesus they didn't because that's your bread and butter. It's the draw that people come to PlayStation for.
That's it.
And that's worth way more than $200 million.
Oh, by far.
By far.
Because...
And I thought that was quite interesting.
And this is the thing that Xbox in our opinion, in my opinion at least, kind of at least shot themselves on the foot with, potentially nailed their coffin with, is Game Pass and it being able to be played on PC.
And all of their games being available everywhere, like day one, everything like that.
There's nothing, despite not having enough titles, in my opinion, to push the console. There's no reason to get the console. Whereas these exclusive titles, your God of War and Last of Us and all that stuff, the only way to play it is to get the console. It pushes the console.
It's a narrow-minded way to think. It's just out of just game sales, because game sales are a lot of money, but they're not the way that you make all of your money.
Yeah.
The way that you make all of your money is, like, as we've said many times before, the cut that you get off of like every transaction that goes through the store.
Your Netflix subs, your Amazon Prime stuff. Yeah.
Having people on your console, getting PlayStation Plus, stuff like
your
that.
Fortnite microtransactions.
Having all of those people on your console is where a lot of the money is as well.
Yeah.
And it's just narrow-minded to think like this, to be like, hey, fuck it, we'll get $200 million now, and then we're set, right?
Well,
right,
that's
guys?
almost nothing.
Right?
Didn't Sony just put in a record-breaking quarter?
Yeah.
Deep in the billions.
They were.
No, the PlayStation
division,
put in,
exactly. They were like 40.
It was
60% more than Microsoft made in their gaming division.
It was deep.
It was great. Anyway, I just thought this was quite funny, but there's a weird thing going on because Apple and Epic, they seem to, PlayStation and Epic, there's things like this that seem like they were like, how dare you get out of here with that $200, but then they go and invest $250 million in Epic so they can have like shares of the company. It's all business at the end of the day, so there's no animosity sort of going on behind the scenes. But it's so strange to think like that.
Well, I think maybe it was a case of they invested in Epic because one, and I think this is the real investment, it's the Unreal Engine 5.
Yep.
That's what they're really investing in. Which, oh my God, I cannot wait for that to really like take flight. And maybe Epic were like, we should do the same sort of deal and like start this business relationship, you know, and we've done business before, you have your titles on our stuff, blah, blah, blah. But it just doesn't make sense for Sony, who are looking further down the road.
Yeah.
Right. And the fact is, these titles push consoles. Getting people onto your console is a big deal. And there is a big reason, in our opinion, I think, that the PS4 sold 100 million units and the Xbox sold 30 million units. Yeah. Right. And a big part of that is you actually don't need an Xbox to play a bunch of these Xbox titles.
Yeah.
And like, I don't have a problem with something like, let's say, Persona coming to PC 4 or 5 years down the road.
Yeah.
That's probably a good idea because you bring out an incredible title. Now you can play it. Like, no one's buying it on the, also it's free on the PS Plus collection. But then
it's people who didn't have access to it before are getting it. So it's just an extra revenue source.
And now they're also saying, wait. I don't want to have to wait 5 years for the next one of these. This was an incredible game.
Especially if they do it the way they're doing it now, where like Horizon Zero Dawn is now available on PC. Yeah. Death Stranding is now available on PC. When the new project comes out this year for Horizon even, people are going to be like, shit, I had so much fun with that. God damn it, I think I should buy it. Maybe I should get a PlayStation to check it out and whatnot.
For the people that loved Horizon that played it on PC and haven't played it on PS4.
I said Horizon, but I'm using that as an example. Any game that happens.
I'm going to give, using that.
Go on.
Let's say you did love Horizon, you played it on PC. Well, the new one's coming out and it's next gen console. It's a brand new console that right now, the hardware and that interesting SSD in the PS5 competes with a bunch of like sort of maybe mid-tier gaming rigs.
Top tier, mate. Top tier.
Like that top
PC gaming is looking at us right now. They're like, shit.
Especially with
my
the SSD.
RGB isn't helping.
Especially with the SSD, and they'll be looking at that and going, this isn't like a peasant machine, which a lot of PC gamers, they're looking in the mirror really and think. But like, this is a real serious piece of hardware and kit. And I did have a lot of fun on the first one, and this new one's completely updated, and everybody's talking about this haptic, like that.
That's the thing that gets me most is that they're not PC gaming. You get better quality visuals. That
faster
is
frame rates. It's a better aiming system. I totally agree to all
exactly. That's the stuff that you're getting for it, but you're not going to get innovation.
You won't. No.
So you're not going to get a DualSense sort of support.
Yeah, you're not getting a DualSense mouse ever.
Exactly. Right. You're not going to get that sort of stuff, and that's where it lacks behind, which is the pro-con situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you do get better performance on PC. You just do, as long as it's
connected to a PlayStation 5 controller.
Right. Exactly. But like this is the thing is that I do not think that mouse and keyboard is as immersive. Nowhere near. There is something about holding a controller in your hands and like especially with the haptic, the DualSense stuff. But even before that, I always felt like it was more intimate using a controller. And I like playing on PC.
Yeah.
I played literally hundreds of days worth of World of Warcraft. But for certain, I would not play Horizon on PC. I'm sure it runs great, but I would play a game like that or God of War with the controller. And also, they didn't make God of War playable.
Yeah.
You should not be able to play God of War on anything other than a PlayStation ever.
If someone had asked me
Ever.
after they started doing the first couple, in fact, if you ask me now, I'm still thinking it's like God of War is like the biggest draw.
Never.
Now,
Never
I know-
let that off the PlayStation.
That's the thing. There's the both ways of thinking about it, where it's like it's the biggest draw to come to PlayStation because it's the only place you can get it. But also, it's like give them a tease and then they'll want to buy the next one. It's like,
Give them a demo then, fuck them.
it's like the demo and the full game's coming, never comes out.
Yeah.
Just right now, it's just like no.
Right.
Anyway, I think actually he has a PlayStation, so that's a point right there.
Oh yeah, he did get a PlayStation, didn't
I think
he?
he got it.
I think
to
I
play,
saw his tweet,
to play Final Fantasy. Otherwise, he wouldn't have bought it.
That's the point. Final Fantasy VII's free on, is it the PS Plus
No, wait,
collection?
it was PS Plus just for 1 month.
Oh, it's for 1 month.
already
But I
gone
got Final
past it.
Fantasy 7 for free. Persona's on there for free. I got
you go.
Horizon Zero Dawn for free.
There you
For
go.
free!
Our next topic,
Yeah.
more Sony stuff.
Okay.
Sony have begun sharing details with partners on the specs of a new PlayStation VR headset.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, it announced a couple of months ago that they were working on a PlayStation VR headset, and it sounds pretty fucking impressive from what we've got right here. Reading from Upload VR, this is Ian Hamilton. He says, "We don't know the product's name yet, but multiple sources tell us Sony started sharing details with partners. Those details include a resolution of 4000 by 2040. So that's just like one's a bit higher in 4K and the other one's a bit lower in 4K, but it's around 4K basically.
Yeah.
That's
Close
2000 and 240 by per
And stuck
eye.
on your face, you won't be able to tell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A lens separation adjustment dial, so like pupil distances and stuff like that, so making it even better for people. A gaze tracking capable of foveated rendering. We spoke
Can
about
you still
that
use it if
before.
you're not homosexual?
Unfortunately, you can't. Unfortunately, you still
No
need to
gay
be
tracking.
homosexual.
No gay
unfortunately.
tracking.
The foveated rendering is wherever you're looking, that's where it's rendering the most important stuff, and then the other stuff you're not, it will like lower the resolution down to save horsepower and stuff like that.
Right, and CPU and GPU sort of power.
Exactly.
You had an opinion, a theory about it with for altered reality, though, didn't you?
I did.
So
I did,
make sure
I
you
did.
mention that.
And a motor in the headset that can be used by developers to give direct haptic feedback.
No, no, this PT nightmare is coming true.
Someone drops an axe on your head, or someone taps you on the back of the head, or something like that.
People are
Shit's
going to
already
shit
out.
their pants, and I'm so not down. I'm so not down. It's going to be incredible, but
It's gonna feel like somebody tugged on the cable on the back of your headset. And, I'm alone in the house. What?
right, that's the sort of stuff where if I was to ever do that, I would set up like a freaking klaxon. Like if the door opens, it's like, whoop, like air raid sound, so you know that you're still alone if that's not going off, you know.
But the problem is that what if like something drops off a shelf, sets it off, and then there's nobody in the house? Does that make it any better for you?
The house is haunted. I gotta burn it down.
It's got to be done. It's like, oh, there's probably a spider in there. People will understand. Anyway, I like the sound of this all because it's so much more advanced than the PlayStation VR headset that I bought, the first one, the Gen 1. And, oh, God, it's just so great.
First of all, tell everybody your idea, which I think is coming true.
The tracking on the outside. So I had an idea that instead of them using a PlayStation VR camera where it would track the headset and there'd be light tracking and stuff like that, another way that you can track, and some headsets have done this in the past, where there's cameras on the headset and it tracks everything in the room, so it then knows, it's like, if this has moved that way, it clearly means your head has moved that way.
Yeah.
And I would think that would be really cool. And then also there was the pattern as well that would track objects and turn them into controllers, and that makes sense with the camera thing like that, which would be super innovative and be really cool like that. And then if you wanted to do an augmented reality thing, you could as well, because it's already seeing everything around you.
You could. Another interesting thing, maybe 2 years, or it might be a little bit more now, we covered there was a pattern link for the PSVR 2, and at the time we hadn't got the specs for PS5, and we were like, this seems like they're really grasping at straws here. You would need a beast rig, a beast machine to even come close to running this. It was like, 4K visuals and all this stuff. And then we did get the specs for PS5. And we're like, actually that would
cut the mustard. That would
do it. So if everything we know from that PSVR 2 pattern leak is sort of true, plus with the controllers where they're doing the haptic with the fingers, and now with this like haptic, like take the DualSense 5, put it in each hand with haptic finger control so you can grip things, or like maybe come close to typing, grip things, by like grip that thing and then this thing and hold onto the rope, that kind of deal. Add in a little bit of sound stuff, add in the haptic on your head, like as you're climbing up the rope, there's that drip.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. That's cool. Yeah.
Like, and you can feel the rope like going taut in your hand, and you can, like feel it. Like that's going to be a gift. That's going to be a gift. As soon as I did it, you can just like feel it. Like that could be incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my God, imagine a Batman game like that.
Oh boy. When I showed you the PSVR Batman.
That's what sold me on VR one. Yeah.
If they could make a fully fledged one of that, don't get me wrong, that was actually a really good.
It was good.
I want to call it a demo, but it was a decent enough tech demo at least. Anyway, if they can make a full fledged game out of that, it'd be fantastic. But the one thing they didn't have though is how his parents died, so we still don't know how.
Oh, you didn't get an origin story?
No, we didn't get.
And then how are you going to know how he becomes Batman?
No one knows how he became Batman.
It's very niche.
Yeah,
very niche. They never
far back in the comics. Oh,
yeah, all about literally issue 1, and it's never been mentioned ever again in the fan base or anything. Yeah, it's
exactly.
Really.
The next story. This is our final PlayStation news story. Sony plans on redesigning the PlayStation 5 in 2022.
Okay.
So I know I already probably got a lot of people's hopes up. My hopes were up as well because I was hoping to buy yet another PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
However, this isn't going to be a visual redesign. It's going to be internally. So right now there's a shortage on consoles, right?
Yeah.
Part of the reason is because of like COVID and getting parts, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the large part of the reason is because there's a shortage on semiconductors.
Yeah.
Parts that go into computers and any sort of electrical device out there.
Yeah.
They've engineered the PS5 based on what it was back in the day, where semiconductors were everywhere and you can just get them cheap by the dozen. You can just get them like that. And now you can't. Yeah. So they've managed to work out a way to redesign the PlayStation to hopefully not lose any power, to hopefully make it exactly to what it is now, but use less semiconductors and therefore be able to produce more PlayStation 5s. It's apparently running on, it's going to get technical, instead of the 7nm chip, it's a 6nm chip. There's a whole nanometer they saved right there. I don't know how, I'm not an engineerist. But apparently that's gonna be able to make it easier to produce the consoles, and then they'll be able to step up production.
Okay.
What I think was super interesting about this is that,
are they going to give us the freaking slot to increase the internal memory? Because even I desperately need to do that.
Work on that, damn it. Work on that. I thought it was interesting that the shortage is so severe, so dire, that they went, we'll redesign the PlayStation just so we can make more of it. That was an interesting thing to me. One thing just before you say anything, apparently they were trying to... Let me just find it here. Shit, I've lost the page. Apparently they're trying to hit 14.8 million consoles sold by the end of 2021. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, by the end of 2022 or something like that, which makes it... So 2021, which makes it faster than the PlayStation 4 sold in that time. And they hope they can hit that with the current version and then get even better with the next version. That's what I would say.
The problem is, I feel like the scalping is a big issue.
Yes.
Which is one of the reasons why I feel like the metric needs to be PlayStation's not sold, but in people's hands.
Yeah.
Even though they've sold a bunch, a lot of them haven't reached people still, you know?
That's something that's not addressed that often, you know? I listen to a
that's
few...
That's going to affect numbers as well, because if you think like, oh, we're outperforming the PS4... How many people are playing Ratchet and Clank? It's not what you would expect. Do you know what I mean?
A lot of people, like, I listen to a few gaming podcasts, I listen to a few gaming, read articles and stuff like that.
You can read?
I can, dictation, they read it to me.
Right. Thank you, Siri.
All of this stuff, they always say, there are 7.9 million consoles out there. And I'm like, yeah, but everyone you speak to says they can't get one. That must mean that they're not actually with people.
Yeah.
They're with things. Now, that could also mean that demand is much higher, which it is.
Yes.
I feel like it's much higher than it was for the PlayStation 4. But still, it's going to be very telling when Ratchet and Clank comes out, and like you said, not that many people are playing it because there's physically not many consoles.
That's going to look very bad, I think, and it's going to affect the bottom line in a way that they're probably not expecting. I think demand for the PS5 is going to be higher than for the PS4 throughout the life of this generation.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something like
gaming's got way more. At the beginning of PS4, it wasn't as mainstream as it is now.
Yep.
It was great.
Yeah, it was good for sure.
It's become the golden age right now.
It really is better. There are so many more incredible titles. It looks like there's more on the horizon. The PlayStation 5
Horizon.
Looks like the PS5 has pushed. Well, I would say the PS5 has pushed it forward, so like you can get a console like you had before that's just more powerful. The Xbox One, no, the Xbox Series X.
I was gonna say yeah.
Or you can get one that's not like the one you had before with the DualSense, with this brand new SSD and all that stuff, right? So it looks more futuristic. It not looks more futuristic, but it does futuristic stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And the games and everybody that has felt underserved, that although like Game Pass seemed at the time to be a good service, if you were one of those guys that didn't want to play old games, you want to play new stuff, and you kept seeing people on PlayStation having these new titles and they were incredible.
Yeah.
I think there are a decent chunk of people on Xbox that, like us, want new stuff, not backwards compatibility, even though there is a fair amount on PlayStation as well, with like at least PS4 titles, that now they just want to get onto a ecosphere that is going to give them new titles as they go forward. And then once Fable comes out and it's good, they'll buy it, the next Xbox. Then that's the way I'm going to do it. If Fable comes out, or even potentially Halo Infinite, if it's good enough, I'll buy an Xbox for it. Probably the Series S. But I think there's a bunch of people. So I don't see the PS5 losing steam,
Yeah.
So
I don't see it at all.
So the metric needs to be PlayStation's in Pony's hands, in the hooves. That's got to be the metric, because otherwise saying that, look, we've sold 15 million units in our first year, whatever it is. Cool. How many people played Ratchet and Clank? This one guy in North London.
Yeah. It's like 1 million people out of 8 million.
Right.
That's not good. And that's the reason why, I reckon we haven't got firm dates for anything. They haven't said anything for Horizon. While I do think Horizon actually still will come out this year, personally. God of War definitely hasn't got a date, and I don't think we'll get a date for that for a very long time.
Yeah.
Because it just makes Sony sense. It just makes sense for them not to release it because no one's got the console.
I'll tell you the one thing that I would do if I was Sony.
Go on.
Is put a standing order in with all of your retailers and say, if you see, every single one, and say, we're going to make a database, and anyone that's had more than, I feel like 4 is a reasonable number. 4, like one for you, one for your kid, one for someone, like hypothetical. I don't think most people need more than 4 PS4s, right? Like you and I have got by on of each, even you for the new ones, you just had one, right? You had one PS4 of this thing, one PS4 Pro, one PS4 of the next, So if anybody's bought 4 PS4s, so 4 PS5s, you just say, look, we're not selling it. Back in during the first lockdown, they were like, you can only buy 3 of any item at the supermarkets. You're only allowed to buy a maximum of 3 PS5s. That's it. You've already bought 4. Tough. You're a scalper. Get fricked.
It's so
that would
stupid.
be the move, though. It
would be the move. It would be the only way to do it, and it's all down to Sony. Actually, I mean, so the thing is, Sony have so little control over it because once you give it to a retailer, how do you tell the retailer to do anything that isn't going to cost them money? It's like, do this for us. Yeah, but that requires man hour, right?
Because you can say, here's the deal. How would you do it? You say, we're gonna sell it to you at cost, like absolute cost, like cost to us, because even wholesale, in wholesale they make a bit of money on that, or you have to make some money on it. It's not just the cost of production. We're gonna sell it to you at cost. You can sell it whatever you like, just make sure it gets into people's hands, and we'll give you a deal. We'll give you some sort of deal coming forward, because again,
how do they make sure? They have to dedicate resources to something, which
Maybe
is a cost
Sony.
to them.
Well, so again, Sony, PlayStation put in a record-breaking quarter. Maybe they say, "Look, we'll build a system for
As I
all
said,
of the UK retailers.
it has
We'll
to be
build
done
it. It come
Sony,
out
innit?
of our money. You guys just need to use it."
It's down to them, but it's so complicated and
It is. And don't get me wrong, that is a
most
pipe
people-
dream. That isn't going to happen.
Yeah, it isn't gonna happen.
If I was running Sony, I would be that. I'd go Sony UK. You guys need to get this done. Sony Germany. You guys need to get this done. So PlayStation Germany, PlayStation UK, PlayStation France. You guys need to get this done. I want PlayStations in people's hands. I want to see more people, not more consoles sold. I want to see more people logging on to their PSN.
this is the thing.
accounts.
That's your idea.
Yeah.
And I think it's so complicated to
For sure.
do that. And Sony have
Hey
gone.
man, I'm just a guy with an opinion on the internet. I don't give a frick how difficult it is.
And Sony seem to, with this, are going in another direction in a way that they can control.
For sure.
Redesign the console so they can produce many, many more units so they can flood the market.
Yeah.
And then that's that. The one thing that's going to be interesting, though, is that this is essentially going to be different inside. So is there going to be any differences?
Well, you're going to find out because it's new, so you're definitely getting it.
Exactly. And I'm going to wonder if it's going to be like back in the day, the
Well, we can do
PlayStation
side by
Vitas.
side.
The PlayStation Vitas used to be like one of them had a different type of memory in it. There was one with a different type of screen, and it was like, no, you don't want the VSSS OT 06494. You want the 495. That's what you want, guy. Get that one. And you go on eBay, and it's like, put the serial number down, bro. We need to know. We need to know which one is, and we might get a situation like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Or like one performs 1% better than the other one. You want that one? You want that one, guys?
Yeah. But that's the
Anyway.
thing. If that is the case, as long as it's sort of close enough, because again, I feel like the big deal is the SSD, not so much everything else. So it's just trying to make the stuff that gets the SSD to what it needs to be doing cheaper. That get them out. Once capacitors come back in, you go back to the old design, and just keep things going. As long as, again, they work, they're good enough. Like, when I say good enough, I mean within the window of the acceptable PS5 tolerances.
Yeah.
Because all things have tolerances. There is a PS5, there is a fastest PS5 out there. Someone has the most powerful PS5. Someone has the absolute weakest PS5. That is just engineering and tolerance stuff.
Yeah.
That is a thing, and there is an acceptable window for them. As long as it falls within that window, I don't really care.
Yeah. There will be somebody who does care, though, and they're going to be like, yeah, the new ones are totally 5% better or something like that, 1% better.
Well, I think they might be worse. The new ones are likely to be worse
I don't
than the old
know.
capacity. Actually, you know what? It's new tech, though.
That's the thing that I'm thinking, that maybe it's impossible to know.
Who knows, yeah.
Impossible.
We'll have to wait for Digital Foundry to do something.
Digital Foundry,
testing.
break it apart and be like, guys, the silicone they used in this
Right.
was from the beaches of Ibiza.
There you go, yeah.
Great.
It has grains of cocaine in it.
Great,
It's
perfect.
5% faster.
The best. It's always like this, just jumping around. Anyway, our next topic, Battlefield 6
Yes.
will be revealed in June instead of
okay.
There was a rumor that it was going to be revealed this month in May, but that got pushed back because apparently, according to the CEO of EA, there is a possibility for a chance of a partnership. Basically, there was a chance for them to get more money. And so they pushed back the reveal date. So we're probably going to see it at E3. But the real news is that Battlefield 6 will reportedly be coming out for the PS5, Xbox Series X, and PS4 and Xbox One.
Oh, God damn it. Frick.
During a call, the EA management said Battlefield 6 will look and perform best on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S/X. Thanks to the improved horsepower of those consoles that can deliver higher player counts and better destruction.
Yeah.
The PS4 and Xbox One versions will be no slouch, though. As EA said, the game looks and runs great on those platforms that it's available on. So I feel like we heard those lines before about another game
Yes.
that came out and it didn't do so well.
What was that again? No, you must be in your head.
I think I'm misremembering anything that happened that definitely didn't happen.
Yeah.
No.
There's no
one said that.
No one would take all of the trust of their brand and say this runs better on the PS5 and Xbox Series X, but perfectly fine on the PS4. And,
acceptable on the PS5.
right. V and the protagonist will be just fine.
Exactly. So, was you saying a name that I didn't hear? That any particular?
Oh, I just mispronounced protagonist.
Oh, okay. Okay, I understand. Understandable.
Yeah. It is bullshit.
It's absolute bullshit. They're trying to. I mean, we can expect this from EA. Because we're like, you guys just want to sell more units. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You will happily sacrifice the game.
Oh, they don't care at all.
Just to make more money. That's fine.
Yeah.
So we know this is all bullshit.
Yeah.
The only hope that we have is that maybe, possibly, that they actually do a good job on the PlayStation 5 console, the current gen consoles, that we get to play them decently. But I feel so sorry for the people who probably will get ripped off by the previous gen.
The thing is, though, anyone that believes EA... EA is the reason that one of our favorite online games for certain, Battlefront 2, had such a rocky start. That could have potentially been the best-selling, or one of the best-selling Star Wars games of all time, one of the best shooters of all time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. Simply because EA. And I remember at the time, DICE had been in a big argument about how they wanted to do it, and EA had said, no, this must be the progression.
Yeah.
And EA is the publisher, and that they are also EA. And it came out, and it was awful, and it took, 8 months to fully retcon everything and get it working?
I felt like a lifetime, man.
It was very, very rough. And look, we ended up with an incredible game, and by the end of it, I was actually calling for microtransactions to come back in. Because then it would mean support and longer life. And what happened? They didn't do that. And skins stagnated. Dev support stagnated. The team went down from its full size down to a skeleton crew of 10 and then complete stop.
Yeah.
That's a game that could still be going today. Easily.
All because of EA's greed? Nothing.
Yeah, you mess it up at the start, and again, you mess it up the right way. And the right way to mess something up is try and rob people, try and take more and give less.
Yeah,
and that's how you frick up the Xbox One. That's how you frick up Battlefront 2. That's how you frick up.
I was really excited for Battlefield 6. In a way, I still am because I am a Battlefield simp.
I have really good memories with Battlefield.
Yeah, it was really good fun. And it's been a while since I played a Battlefield game. But I was really, really hoping it would be like a current gen exclusive. Or at least a current gen and PC.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, again,
especially because PC is
units...
going to be their main player base. Battlefield is always PC-centric.
It's a big... PC game for sure.
It was a dream though. They're always going to bring out for other consoles and shit like that.
The business move makes sense. I don't begrudge any business for saying we have 100 million potential people. 140 million, right? Yes. If you include the Xbox.
140, 150.
Over 100 million people potentially to play it on the previous generation of consoles. Are we really going to get rid of that market?
Yeah.
So I don't begrudge anyone for doing that. But the idea that this game is going to perform anywhere close to what it would on the current gen is insane.
Absolutely insane.
And although I think I saw something for Battlefield 6, but the title said Battlefield 5, and I think that may have been a typo. They just hit the wrong button. But someone was like, "Oh, you can, if you throw a grenade, you can shoot it out of the air. That's cool." But they were like, also, if you throw a grenade on a roof, it breaks the snow. Which was cool. They showed a video of it, threw a grenade, pop, and the snow falls down. The only problem was it stayed in a sheet like that when it hit the ground. So that was a little bit rough. So I'm not even sure what I feel about Battlefield 6. I just thought of a question I have for you though.
Go on.
We've been talking about the current gen sales.
Yes.
We know that the PS5 is outperforming the Xbox, both of them.
Yeah.
And we know the PS4 Pro, I assume, PS4s are almost beating the Series X and S combined. Yeah. Do you think that bringing out a flagship product and a fuckboy product, the Series X and then the Series S, is a reason, or one of the reasons, that Xbox is not doing quite so well as PlayStation, even the PlayStation 4? Or do you think it's more of the people wanting to leave Xbox and come to PlayStation? Because I was going to say I feel like it's the first. I feel like having an X and an S was a huge mistake, and we said that coming into it.
Not a clear message and whatnot.
Right.
This is the console. This is the thing. Get this thing.
Right.
It's more like, come and get one of these options, one of these many things over here.
And I think a lot of people looked at it and immediately went, you're going to bring out some small number of standalones, and you're immediately starting by handicapping them.
It's an interesting one because, like, in like the phone market, there's like Apple and other like high end stuff that are like making phones and stuff like that. And then there was always, not this isn't the case now, but back in the day it was always either buy an iPhone or get yourself a cheap Android.
Yeah.
Because Android's a lot more affordable and stuff like that. And they made such a big killing because purely just off of the price.
Yeah.
And I suspected that Xbox were going to do really well because they have this really affordable console.
You said something about them aiming for silver.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They don't need to be number one, but if they get close up there, then it's still making tons of money.
Yeah.
However, it hasn't shaked out like that.
Yeah.
No one cares that it's cheaper.
Yeah.
No one cares that it can run the same games, just a little bit of a lower resolution. Who cares? It's not a big thing. No one cares that it can do this stuff. They just see, Sony's over there making great games. These games are fantastic. Oh my God, that game looks so good. I could be having great fun. Let me go get that game.
So you think it's more about the game? People are leaving Xbox and coming to Sony rather than the Xbox titles?
Personally, that's what I think.
Interesting.
I don't... Go on, tell me what you think about the console.
I think there's a large number of people that look at it and go, the options are get a PS5, that's the console, or pick between the X, which is supposed to be able to compete with the PS5, but I mean, in terms of like just flat performance, pretty close. Not necessarily in delivery, but like the on paper numbers, fairly close.
Yeah.
And the X, like, why would I want the S? Why would I want the budget one? How's that going to affect my game?
Yeah.
Like if I get Fable, is it going to, how does the S compare to the One X? Oh, I mean, it's better, but not much.
Yeah.
You know, like, so how's it going to be in 5 years over the life of the console? I think there's a bunch of people that looked at that and went, so that kind of turned them off the X. And I think the S, was intended, the Lockhart was intended to get grandmas who were buying little Billy an Xbox, and they just bought the cheaper one.
Yeah.
I think that's who they were targeting.
And so too.
The reality is most gamers are like 14 and up.
Yeah.
Right? And the number of grandmas buying the consoles or whatever, people that don't know, is actually surprisingly slim. The majority of gamers are buying their own consoles, and little Billy, when he writes his Christmas list, he writes Xbox Series X only. Seriously, Dad, tell Santa not the S. It must be the X. No one wants the S.
I see that white console.
Right? Like, I don't think there is any that number of people that are just getting the S because it's cheaper and don't really realize what they're buying. I think that number is very slim.
Yeah.
And so the only people actually looking at the S are potentially me, who just wants it to play Fable, and then I'm shutting it off again. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know? So I actually think it's surprisingly high because they split the base. And so now the base who was just about hanging on got split again. And so now their tribe got split. And then they're looking over at Sony being stronger and stronger and having more like, you know, more titles to play, and not more titles to play, more good stuff to play, more stuff that's worth going over there for. So that's what my opinion.
In terms of the games and like what you just said there about like being more optimistic and looking over there and saying, oh, they've got more to play and stuff like that. In 2 weeks' time, I'm planning the E3 predictions episode that we do, which should be a good fun. Everyone can write in and stuff like that. I'm actually surprisingly hopeful for what Xbox might show. I think this might be the year where they show off some stuff.
They're going to show the original first build of Halo Infinite. It's an old build, guys. Come on.
Come on, guys. It's an old build. Because I think there's a lot of stuff coming up and things that have been gestating in the works. And they did by Bethesda, and I'm sure they had a few projects coming as well.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be something to show. And also it'll be interesting on how things get delivered now, because Bethesda had their own show.
They did.
Microsoft had their own show.
Yeah.
Is that going to be together? Is that still going to be separate? Is it going to be...
Interesting.
I think it'll be a good episode and be talking about that as well. And maybe we can hypothesize how the future is going to go for Microsoft.
That is interesting because every time we've seen a Microsoft event, we're like, yeah, that was really good. That was really good. That was strong.
Yeah.
And then the second we see the Sony thing, we're like, no, that was good. Then we go back and watch the Xbox and we're like,
It's because they were first. That's why we thought.
But even if they were, it would look way worse if they came second.
Yes.
Though. Like oh my God, so much worse. But like, I don't know what it is, but at least in the last few years, the Xbox events look good in a vacuum. But you compare it to the Sony event, you're like, man, they had stuff to flex and didn't. And then the stuff they flexed on, like, and then they missed a message that was important, and they started talking about all this useless stuff, and then showing us something about developers going to Iceland. What the you know, it's weird. But then the Sony ones come out and bang it out of the park. So I would love to see it. And I would love for us to be like, man, that Xbox event was amazing. So was the Sony event. Oh my God, what was your favorite bit of this? What were you most? I want that. I would rather talk up Xbox than rag on them because we do it so often. Not because we enjoy it. But because, come on, Xbox, have one win. Statistically, you should accidentally have kicked the ball in the right place.
Yeah, should have just gone in the right area. Oh, you did it.
Right, even by accident. Even if it's an own goal. Come on, just get it through the posts.
All right, we've got a half an hour-ish here before we have to, got a hard stop. We've got some scheduling stuff to do. Our two final topics. Oh, boy.
Great.
Ubisoft,
I'm already down. Oh,
Ubisoft
great.
Is shifting away from traditional strategy of releasing 2 to 3 premium AAA titles each year.
When were they doing that?
Exactly. Then I mean, their own.
You can't get away from a strategy you haven't been doing, bro.
They call it premium AAA.
Okay,
so
right.
they're not what anyone else considers it. I mean, Valhalla. Yeah, no, thanks.
Right.
For 3 to 4 platinum premium AAA titles each year, but plans to launch high-end free-to-play games for its biggest franchises.
Sick.
So Assassin's Creed is going free-to-play. What are the other ones? Far Cry is going free-to-play.
I'll tell you this,
all that sort of stuff like that.
I'm going to be 100% with you.
Go on.
If Valhalla was made free, if it went up on the PS Now thing, I wouldn't download it.
Yeah.
And that isn't a beef for Assassin's Creed. I did play AC1, I think.
Yeah.
Ages ago. Yeah, it was a good game. It's okay. Just not my cup of tea. Neither was Horizon, but I downloaded that.
Yeah.
And it's not anything to do with Horizon being a PlayStation exclusive. You know, I don't care about that really. I just think Valhalla is not good. And I've seen a bunch of streams and it doesn't hold up. Even comparing it to Horizon, which in my opinion is not that great a title, has a lot of good stuff, but like Valhalla looks older than Horizon. And Horizon's 3 years it's senior. You know, I wouldn't get Valhalla even for free. I wouldn't get Valhalla even if they said you download it and you get a £10 credit. I probably still wouldn't get it. It'd have to be higher than that.
They'd have to ask you. You'd have to play it as well. Like that's the
if you had to play it, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not even joking. If they were like, it'd have to be the cost of the game. If they're like, you get £70 credit,
nope.
I'd be like, play this and get a free game.
Nope.
Yeah, even then, I've got some.
But
money.
what if they give you the Attack of the Druids DLC for free as well?
Oh well, that's a totally different. No,
then it just changes the whole thing.
I'm still not doing it.
The thing that's interesting about this is that they did upgrade. They did update them afterwards.
Okay.
Apparently, they go. It doesn't mean that they'll be making less premium games, but that they'll be making high-end, quote-unquote, free-to-play versions of their current games. They have announced
so
they're
talking
making
about like making Call of Duty, but also making Warzone.
Yes, something like that.
Okay.
Now they've already announced they're making a Division's Heartland free-to-play game. They haven't said exactly what it is, but it's in the world and the universe of Division.
Yeah,
and it's going to be free to play, which I quite enjoy. I'm kind of looking forward to it to see what it's all about.
Right.
I like the shooting aspect, the third person over the shoulder, cover to cover shooter. It's nice.
You're like Mass Effect then.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm kind of looking forward to it now. I'm
gonna play it myself, but I'm gonna watch you play the entire franchise.
There we go. And I'm okay with it. I just don't like the idea they're taking their existing franchise and turning them free to play.
Yeah.
There's some franchises that don't translate well, and also make something original for fuck's sake.
Right.
And that's my actual point here. Underneath all of their games now, they're now saying a Ubisoft original.
Oh, sick.
Ubisoft haven't come up with an original idea in 45 years.
Right.
They're just like, oh, Witcher do it good. Let's do what Witcher do. Let's do what that. I mean, these guys do it good. Let's do what they do over there.
First of all, they stopped making the game that they were doing well. They stopped doing AC justice, and then started to copy a game that even the guys that made the game haven't been able to like recreate, right? At least so far. And it's all gone downhill since then.
Yeah.
I don't think, for example, Assassin's Creed is a good fit for that kind of model, that like free to play, freemium kind of game.
Yeah.
Seems like really it's shooters or JRPGs that do really well for that. Seems like, look, if they can do it right, don't get me wrong, there is a timeline where Ubisoft comes out and does this, and that free to play game is the shit. It's like the game,
The box dollars.
yeah. And we get on it and we're loving it,
We're Ubisoft simps.
right? And it changes our opinion. They bring Ashraf back, and,
Yeah, exactly. Bring back the good guys.
right, exactly.
Keep
The
that Derby guy
heroes,
out of here.
yeah. Like, if that were the case, that would be a good thing. I just, wear out my X button doubting, like doubt. And it's, I feel like they've picked the wrong type of game, the wrong genre of the game, and they're also Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Is Eve still running that bitch?
Yep.
See? Don't know what that proves, but it does.
No, it's just this.
It proves
completely
something.
out of touch. He's just an old man out of touch, and so's the whole company. All right, well, that's what's going on in the gaming scene right here. I want to push it over to our final topic.
Yeah, boy.
This is going to be one of our meatier subjects right here.
Okay.
It all derives from a tweet.
Yeah.
A Mike Diver, who is a head of content at Gaming Bible, said, "Reminder, you don't need to be good at games to write about them or stream them or
True.
even make them.
True.
You don't need to finish a game to review it. To publish an opinion and score, most of the time we don't get the time."
No.
Categorically incorrect, sir. Like you
You
said,
had me in the first half.
first half was fine.
Yeah. I totally agree. You don't need to be good at games. Look, you can be shit at games and incredibly funny and entertaining. Stream it all you want. Enjoy the game. Slap it on easy and just have a great time. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, go for it. Games devs, notoriously not very good at gaming.
Yeah.
Who cares? You're telling a story. But you absolutely need to have finished the game to give it a score.
Especially if you are a professional reviewer being paid to do so. This is your job to inform others of what this game is like, so then they can go and spend their money on things. That is what your audience deserves.
Yeah.
It deserves for you to finish the game so you can give an accurate representation. How many games are there that you've played? I'll say it right now. Days Gone, when I first tried it, I was like, there's some things in the end.
Yeah.
But in the end, it picks up and it gets so much better, and it turns out it's an amazing game.
Yeah.
If you don't get to that second part, if you don't get to that end part,
it's
then
bad.
You're like, well, this is a 2 out of 10 game, and you get what Jeff Grubb did, and he said Returnal's a 5 out of 10, where everyone else is like, oh, it's a 9 or 10 out of 10.
If you don't get to end, you never get to the payoff. Then you can't be like, look, it's slow in the beginning, but it pays off so well. You never get there.
You miss out on all of those
Yeah,
opportunities.
it's stupid.
And then it goes back to the fact that you're being paid to play this game, to review it. This is your job. You don't want to do the job,
worse.
and therefore you're trying to make this a normal thing.
I think that's
your
even
laziness.
worse.
You're trying to normalize your laziness.
I think it's even worse than that.
Go on.
Because somebody, I mean, I know this guy's audience is all of 3 people, but one of them is going to spend their hard-earned money on a game that you said was good, or not buy a game that you said was bad, that you didn't even finish, and they're going to miss out on one of the best games of the generation, or they're going to miss out on, they're going to spend their money on a trash tier game.
Yeah.
Right. And worse, spend their money on a trash tier game, not enjoy it, and believe that was a 9 out of 10 game.
Yeah.
Right. That is so atrocious, so awful. And the worst thing is, let's say, as a games reviewer, if we were being paid to do it and we really had a time crunch, you could play it for the first, 5 hours, 10 hours on, let's say, hard or something, whack it down to easy, get through the game and put it back up to your appropriate difficulty at the key moments.
Yeah.
And have had a feel for the gameplay, had a feel for how difficult it was to play, knowing that you dropped the difficulty down to get somewhere, use the difficulty as a tool to get through in a time frame.
Yeah.
But still make the important bits enjoyable and still give a reasonable thing and say, the gameplay, the combat's very difficult. because you did really play it on that difficulty, but just not in the in-between stuff. That doesn't make sense. Like, I would say, because we just did Ghost of Tsushima, the ideal difficulty to play it is hard, in my opinion. For me, that was the most fun to play it. But you don't need to play it on hard for anything other than the boss fights and the duels. Everything else, you can slap it down to easy and just destroy your way through, because the only real difference on the difficulty levels is how long it takes you to do that.
And then in the end, you've played the game, you've experienced it, and you can give your well thought out opinions on it.
Right. Now, if you're doing it for fun, stick it at your ideal difficulty and play it the whole way through.
Yeah.
That is better. But at least finish the freaking game.
If it's your job, if it's your opinion, you're informing tons of people.
Imagine you don't finish a game like that, or a game like The Last of Us, and you play like the first 4 hours. Imagine you play only the Ellie bit of The Last of Us, and that's the recommendation you give.
You're like, well, Ellie's story is just absolutely fantastic. It's really great, all the stuff that she goes through, and she's really fantastic. She plays all the way. It's great, and that's the end of the review. And it's like, there's a whole second half to this review that's missing.
Right, exactly. Whether you loved
fuck?
or hated the Abby stuff, like, if you never get there, what are you doing? How are you going to review what about the storytelling? If you don't finish the game, how do you know how, like, the story can be brilliant up to a point, and then at the very end lose it all and say, look, it's a brilliant story, but the end is lacking.
Yeah.
You know, and overall I found it kind of disappointing. Overall, oh my God, the way they I thought the story wasn't very deep, but they tie it together so well at the end. You have to experience this. There's a bunch of games like that.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of games like that. You don't know. You absolutely forget
This.
just privately tell me his name. I'm going to block that guy.
I think I might have said it out loud already.
Oh, you did? I don't remember.
Mike Diver is the person's name.
I'm going to block him now.
Mike Diver, what I think you're trying to do is you're trying to normalize being lazy.
Yeah, I agree.
It's if you've decided you want to go into games journalism, if you decide you want to go into reviewing, and you have been given the job, if you've been given the task of reviewing a game, it is your responsibility to your editor, to your publication, to your fans, to the person who is going to be reading the review, that it is accurate, that you have experienced at least the full story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not saying you have to do all the side content, but at least the full story, and then give your informed, educated opinion on that game. You can't say, I've not played the game, but you know what? I give it a 6 out of 10. It's like, because then it means absolutely nothing.
It's ridiculous.
2 things I want to say. 1, he goes here. Most of the time, we don't get the time, as in to complete the review and stuff like that. Well, he's talking about at least when reviewers, publishers give the game to them.
Okay.
Sometimes they get given like 2 days before the game comes out.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's in a way to
I beat The Last of Us in
shitty
that.
game. Yeah. Well, Valhalla, for example, you couldn't beat that in 2 days or more. But sometimes that's to mask a terrible game.
That should be in the review. That I would put in the review.
Exactly. And sometimes it's maybe the game isn't fully ready yet, and they wanted to get another patch out so it looks pristine, so they get reviewers complete, and then that's in the review. Sometimes. But whatever the case may be, that doesn't matter.
No.
If your entire business is dependent on whether or not getting out on the embargo date, which is like before the game comes out, if it's dependent on that, then you have a pretty shitty business there.
Yeah, for sure.
That you have fans that won't come back to you afterwards to read your review. Angry Joe, he has his own specific types of review. He puts them out 2 weeks after the game comes out because he's decided to make his comedic version, to talk about the game, do that. And people tune in every single time to listen to his thing because he makes good reviews of stuff.
Yeah.
The reason why we don't do reviews is because we don't get the access to them early. We don't have the time and resources to do it.
We also take people's time and money really seriously.
Yeah. And we're
really
like, are we
seriously.
educated enough to make that opinion? We'll give you impressions of what we feel like, and that's because you guys know what our feelings are, and we'll go that way. But that's because we respect you.
Yeah.
This is not respecting people's time. This is not respecting people's money. And also, it means that you have a shitty website. It means you have shitty reviews that nobody cares about. They are like, no, we must put it on day 1 to get all of the clicks, guys.
But this is
all of the clicks.
Let's say someone does send... it starts to be the case that we start doing reviews and people are sending us games, right? Like James got Valhalla early. Stuff like that, right? If it was a case that we had to get a review out, a contractual obligation at a certain date, we would say, we've played this much of the game. These are impressions of that part of the game. You should know this game came to us quite late. that doesn't, we can't attribute a motive to that because we don't know. But the game came to us quite late. We have not had time to fully play the game. We've played this much of it, and these are our impressions of that. But we do not know how it ends. Do you know what I mean?
And that shows something that these games journalists lack.
Why would we?
Integrity.
Yeah, why would we not?
You would say at the beginning, we haven't finished the game. It was given to us really late, so it's still in progress. But here's our impressions of the game.
So far, yeah.
If any games journalist was to put that at the top, they know that they're going to lose 50% of the people straight away.
Yep.
They're going to lose all of these clicks, or someone in the comment section is going to be like, in the tweet, they're going to be like, oh, they didn't finish the game, so disregard it. And that's the reason why they won't say it.
But that's the difference between us and them.
Exactly.
Which is people are here to hear us, and people go to game journals to hear a review.
Exactly.
Not for the game journalists themselves usually, right? Because again, and this is the problem, most of them are journalists who are in gaming.
Yeah.
Not gamers who do games content or review content, right? So there wouldn't necessarily be an issue for us to start at the beginning and say, you need to know we haven't finished it. It came to us quite late, but these are impressions of the game so far. We've done a bunch of those, and we don't drop any views on like early impressions videos.
No.
And that's the difference. That is the difference. We respect your time, but also we would never say this. Actually, we would say this is a must buy, but a bunch of times we've said,
but every time we say what we've played,
it's worth the money. We love it so far. Chris was asking me about Ghost of Tsushima on one of the early streams, and I said, look, for me, this is one of the best games ever made. If you dig this stuff, which I know you do, I think you'll enjoy it. But I don't want to tell you how to spend your money. You might not. I think you'd love it. It seems to be the way to go. But I can't tell you what you'd like. I can only tell you what I like and what things I like about it. I would never tell you how to spend your money or your time, you know?
And
clearly he has trash taste. He's been a super bro since day one.
Exactly.
And our
He
very
likes
first Twitch
us.
tab on twitch.tv/Conbrosations.
I don't know what, he's got no taste whatsoever.
Exactly.
No taste whatsoever. And I did the same with Returnal, where I was like, I haven't played in the first time we did it. I said, I've played 13 hours of the game.
Yep.
This is how far I am. I'm in this boss. I'm in that thing right there. So far, based on what I've played so far, I love this game amazing. I think it's 10 out of 10 so far. It could easily drop it at the end, but it's 10 out of 10 for me so far. That's based on 13 hours. I was very explicit
Game
to say
of the
what
year
I've played.
contender for you at 13 hours so far.
Based on where it's gone. I've played more. It hasn't changed for me. It could still very well change at the end.
Yeah.
But this is where I sit so far. These guys could
Especially
say that at the
Returnal,
beginning.
which is like an RNG heavy game. Like you might get it and it's not good for you, or it's
Exactly.
really great, or it's too easy for you. There's stuff to consider, but we would always say that.
Yeah. But these guys have no integrity, and they just don't. They just don't.
Well, also because they're more worried about their relationship with developers and getting sent the games than they are with their relationship with their audience. And
If we
that's
don't say it's good, then what's going to happen next time?
right. Then the next guys won't send it to us. Well, go away then.
Exactly.
Because, again, they have no real audience. The reason people take them seriously is somehow they've positioned themselves as authorities, and so people think when they say something, it's more relevant. But it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. A bunch of these people can't play games.
It's fucking dumb. It's fucking dumb.
So, again, don't trust any games journals. Don't trust any of them.
A few of our guys wrote into the Discord server, _____ wrote in, and he said, I don't think you need to finish something to review it as long as you preface why. Preface. So preface.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I saying there?
I was
There's
about
a
to
weird
jump
way
on you
to
for
say
that,
that,
but
innit? As long as you preface why. Sometimes that thing is just not engaging enough for you to get through it, or is broken in terms of the game, etc. I feel like unless you're doing a spoiler review, you don't need to experience the whole thing. And that's very true what you said. If you preface...
Yes.
And if the game isn't engaging enough, then you say the game wasn't engaging enough.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think it's a good game, etc.
I give this game a really low mark. I played for 15 hours and I put it down and found it really easy to walk. Yeah, or I could not play it. I deleted it immediately.
Exactly.
That's one thing, right?
He says, like Kingdom Hearts, as an example, is a terrible game.
Yeah,
example,
exactly.
Right?
Game you would easily walk away from, right?
Easily walk away from. I've still not finished Kingdom Hearts Recom, and yet I could give a review about it, why I dislike it and why I never want to finish it. I think people just get upset when they hear their favorite... Sorry, do you want to say something?
How many games journalists have said, don't buy this game, it's awful?
That's the problem. They won't.
They won't.
They won't say.
They won't.
Exactly. And they will never say they never...
The closest they'll come is, this game has a lot of potential, but maybe needs a little bit more work. We can't wait to see how the patches fix things, and blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
No. This game is garbage.
I think people just get upset when their favorite game gets a bad score or someone gives an opinion without playing it. Hell, even I give my opinion on things based on trailers and demos. See, opinions is more like impressions.
Yeah.
Impressions don't count as reviews. They're not. That's not what that is.
People are going to reviews to know, should I spend my money on this thing?
Yeah.
Is this thing worth it? How good is it? Whereas if an impressions video is like, look, I played it for 4 hours. I'm loving the visuals, but I don't like the music.
Yeah.
But then like 10 hours in, you might be loving them. You know, it's an early impressions video. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's a bit different.
Underscore. You're a freaking moron.
You're a freaking moron there, son.
No, like we agree. We agree with you.
Yeah.
But that isn't what they're doing.
That's it.
You know, that's the thing.
And people's streams of a game, and people will still get mad whether I've spent £70 and picked up the controller to play it or not. I can still have an opinion on what I see. An opinion, again, is something different to a review. A full-on review with a score, and especially if you're being paid to do it as well. That's another thing.
If someone was paying you, if a games company was paying you to review a game that you hadn't played, and you come out and say, because you're not going to come out and say it's garbage, because you're being paid to do it, and you come out and say it's great, and you haven't played it, that's different to an impressions video.
Yeah.
And I would be happy to, and I think we've done it before, where we said, look, I don't really know what, I think Death Stranding we did, don't really know what it's about, but I'm interested in this idea. I'm interested to see what they do with this. The trailer has me confused about so many things. I mean, you know, but again, that isn't, I think every point you've made is 100% accurate, but it isn't the thing we're talking about, which is, you know, giving a review of, yes, you should spend your money on this game for these reasons. Like, why? Especially now that games are at 70.
Let's read the rest of his comment, because he may go into some more stuff here.
No. We only need to read the first half to give our review of his comment.
That's very true. That's a good point right there. We've read a portion of your comment, and we already know you're an idiot. So that's that.
There you go.
That's the end of that. You didn't like that, did you? You didn't like that, did you there?
Aha! We got him.
We got him good there. He says, a review at the end of the day is someone's experience with something. Yeah, their experience with something, not their experience with something they haven't experienced. Something that is not worth someone's time, and such their review should be honest and on that. Whether they are good at the game or not, or whether they've 100% the game or played the whole story, etc. I know this is long, but if you take anything out of this essay, take this. Do you want to have to play 50 to 100 hours of a game you simply aren't enjoying? Again, I think you mistook what was going on here. No, it's not about finishing a game, whether you enjoyed it and giving your impressions on it. It's about finishing a game full stop to give a professional, in this case, paid opinion for a publication so other people can base their purchases off. That's what that was. If you're a professional and you still say, I could not finish this game because it just wasn't good and it just wasn't engaging, or it's too long, whatever it might be, then write that down in your review. These guys are saying, I played AC Valhalla and it's a great game, 8 out of 10.
I'll tell you.
And they only got up to the second act, and that's it.
I'll tell you what I think is potentially going on here. I think Diogo read the thing as one passage, but it's two passages.
Yeah.
Right? I think you've read it and gone, you don't have to be games to write a game review. And assumed that's what the guy was saying. That wasn't what he was saying. He was saying you don't have to be good at games to work in game design. You don't have to complete, whatever. And then you don't have to complete a game to write a review on it. They're different points. I agree you don't have to be good at gaming to stream it, to do content and all that stuff. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Which is a different point to you don't have to complete a game to make a review, to write a review on it. Yes, you do if you're reviewing the game.
Yeah.
If you're reviewing the first half of the game, if you're giving your first early impressions, those are different things.
Yeah.
But to review a game, you need to have completed it.
Yeah.
You need to see if it drops the ball at the end. Because a game could be a 10 all the way up until the third act and completely drop the ball and do a Game of Thrones Series 8. Right? Game of Thrones was an absolute banger, and Series 8 ruined it.
Yeah.
Absolutely ruined it.
No one
and
talks
if you've
about
only
Game
watched,
of Thrones anymore.
If you've only watched the first 3 seasons, you say, I can give you a review of Game of Thrones. This series is blah, 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 perfect writing, blah, blah, blah. And then
you're completely incorrect.
And then you're completely incorrect. By the time you get to season 5, it's garbage now.
He says at the end here, small side note, sometimes reviewers don't have enough time to finish games fully before the review deadline.
Yeah. True.
So the review deadline is an embargo, which is basically when they can freely talk about the game. That's not
That's not the review deadline.
It's not a deadline where, like, if you don't put it out there, then you are going to be axed. That's not going to be. That's just an arbitrary date for your review to be out to gain most amount of
It's
clicks.
the earliest thing. That's the point. It's not a deadline.
Exactly.
It's a start line.
And that's what I said about Angry Joe. Like, he brings out after the game comes out, and still he gives his review, and it's honest, and it's his opinion. That anyone can do that. They choose not to because they just want the clicks. They don't care about anything else. These companies are given review copies to get them out before the game's release, and sometimes developers hand out review copies without enough time. So these companies are forced to review the game without... No, they're not forced to review a game. That's incorrect. Yeah. They are forced to review the games without experiencing it properly. Not forced. They choose to do that.
Yes. And also,
but this is a separate issue, whether they can or whether they should. Yeah.
And giving out games that close to the date, knowing that there is a crunch to get it out and be one of the first articles, is probably something that they should start talking about. Because, again, is that necessarily a sign that the game is trash? No. But it is an indicator, because not all games that come out close to the embargo date are trash. But all trash games come out close to the embargo date. Right? It's the hot tub versus jacuzzi thing.
Exactly.
All jacuzzis are hot tubs, but not all hot tubs are jacuzzis. That's same kind of deal, right? So I think we're like kind of aggressively agreeing here. I don't think Diogo's saying that.
I'm calling him a cunt, but you can be like,
oh, fair enough. Then I agree with you.
There you go.
I haven't read any more of his comment.
No,
but I don't need to.
What it was is that I think he I
think we summed up with the Game of Thrones thing. I think that's a good way to put our point on it.
At the end, he says here, but this is a separate issue whether or not they can review the game fully or whether they should.
Yeah.
That's actually the issue, not a separate issue.
Yeah,
I think you went too far into the whether or not they can, whether or not they should because it's like they enjoy it or whether it's a good game.
Because we agree they can.
Because that's the thing, they can.
As long as it says early impressions.
Exactly.
And again, I think Diogo read that tweet as one statement, but it isn't. The being good, not a thing.
No problem.
Even maybe the difficulty is a thing. Like, for example, playing The Last of Us. You played The Last of Us on easy because it's easy for you and you've only experienced it that way because you need to get through the game. I don't think you've really played it.
No.
If the hardest difficulty you can play it on is easy, then fine, because the game needs... It's a post-apocalyptic zombie world, right? It should be somewhat difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah, okay. Yeah. But, you got to have experienced the game. You need to know the payoff.
Yes.
You need to know how it brings a story together in the end. You need to know if the boss fights are any good. You need to know if the surprise mechanics are really surprising. You know, like there's a bunch of stuff you need to be able to tell people. If you're doing a full game review, now if you're doing early impressions, different. If you're doing a look, we played 10 hours. It was so bad. We need to order another DS5 because I broke this one.
So bad.
You know,
infuriating.
Then you say that, but they don't, do they? Never.
Wolver Ainsley writes in, this is our boy Juice, and he says, I think if someone is professionally reviewing a game, they should really finish it first, at least the main story, since it's part of their job. But it does wind me up whenever I criticize a game like Valhalla and people respond, but I haven't finished it yet. Yeah, you can't comment on it. If I've played over half the game and hated every second of it, I think I can make a comment on it. That's factually correct on what we just said here.
Yeah.
If you can't finish the game because it's just so bad, you can make a commentary on it. Obviously, you can't talk about the fine minutiae things at the end. Yeah. So the bit where Odin comes in at the end and does that, you can't obviously talk because you haven't experienced it. But if you say everything leading up to the point where I stopped was just awful, this was bad, that was bad, I couldn't continue, that's what you can say right there.
I've been upfront about trashing Valhalla, which is mainly that my opinion of Valhalla is what little I've seen of Ethan's stream and stuff, and the guys that I know that you played it and that review AC games all say at best, it's all right. That's the best about it, right? And I watched it and then compare it to the games I have played or can watch other people play. Doesn't look as good.
Yeah.
So I'm giving that, but I would never review Valhalla, right?
Never. Couldn't touch me dead. Isak Manny writes in, the Morrowind simp, he says, that tweet reminds me of the guy who reviewed The Witcher by watching the first 2 Witcher episodes and skipped directly to the final one.
Yeah, exactly.
And then complained that the story was incomprehensible and gave it a 2 out of 10.
There you go.
Worst part is that he was a professional reviewer, but that tweet was both wrong and correct. If the game is story heavy, take for example The Last of Us, then I would say you have to finish the game to review it properly.
Yeah.
If the game is light on story, for example Skyrim, then it's fine not to finish the game. But that's if you're getting paid to review and have enough pull in the industry to bring in or deter sales. The same rules do not apply to amateur reviewers who review as a hobby. Exactly.
I think as well, like even Skyrim, I would say you probably want to finish that because what if
the
at the
story part has to be completed?
Right. What if at the end the story brings it all together, or if at the end you say, look, the game has a relatively weak story, but I played it and enjoyed it, and I don't really think the story is the big draw here. You know, if I'm reviewing Skyrim, I wouldn't review Skyrim. I've got like 20 to 40 hours on it. Never freaking met the Greybeards, so I don't know. I could not review that. I could review probably something like Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us, something like that, right? But even then, I've played both those games multiple times. Mm-hmm. Like I finished them out, and I would also tell everybody all the negatives involved. There are things that aren't good in those games, you know, and you should know it. And is it worth the money? You need to decide. I would never say it is worth $70. Actually, I might say that, but I would say it is worth $70, but you need to decide what to spend your money on.
I would say this is a personal thing, and that's to do with your core morals and whatnot. You don't feel like it's right to say someone spend $70 on it. I'm okay saying it, but I really do have to feel like that is going to be worth it. Yeah. End of the day, you take whatever I say as whatever you want.
Yeah, we're douchebags on the internet.
Exactly, it's up to you. We've got like 4 minutes left, so I'm going to pick out like one comment now. Sorry for all the guys that wrote in. Oh, Ben was asking, are we hyped that there's a $10 calculator coming to the Nintendo Switch? There's a $10 app coming to the Nintendo Switch. That's fucking great right
That's
there.
what we need.
Jack writes in and he goes, my opinion on this varies on the reputation of the reviewer it comes from. Whether they do this as a full-time profession or if there's just some guy with no obligation to give you a professional review, it completely depends on where you set out your platform out. Big game companies for me are expected to have dissected the game as much as possible, at least giving every part of the game a gloss over and reaching the end credits where they are present. If the game is a linear story game, I think they have an obligation to discuss your thoughts on the game's narrative as a section of your review. If not, then your game is a platformer or maybe online and leaning more towards reviewing how engaging the game is, its gameplay, and as if the game keeps you playing it. These games do not require hours and hours and hours, depending on your taste of your going into it pretty quickly. Individual reviewers, so like us, I guess, who built up their following are each to their own. Their own followers know exactly what to expect, so there's not much issue here. They should know if they're going to complete games, even if they don't like them. Basically, most things are not a straightforward answer, but as others said above me, there's never a harm in stating in a full review, these are first impressions or spoiler review and stuff like that. Generally speaking, I advise you to see out the story of the game from start to finish. If not engaged at all and you want to give up, you should be, as an individual, giving it your lowest grade possible. If a gameplay is preventing you from continuing, then you make sure that's known and told about that in a separate story. And if you're just reviewing stuff as a hobby to do what you like, if you're paid by them, you should set your own parameters and stick with them. I agree there. I think you've nailed it quite nicely there, Jack. Thank you very much for that. Sorry, we can't go any further with all the comments that you guys have written in. There's a ton of people that have written some really good stuff, but they basically do follow the same lines of what we said, where like if you're a paid reviewer, you kind of have an obligation to talk about the game and play it all and experience it. Yeah. If you're much like us,
imagine playing The Witcher and never playing Gwent.
That's it. Yeah.
Right? Like,
or even it's more serious than that. Gwent is, don't get me wrong, Gwent is integral to us. Yeah. It's more serious. It's like not getting to experience the ending, not knowing the payoff.
The DLC, not knowing that. Like, let's say we're going to review The Witcher now.
DLC is even optional to me. But not getting to the ending and just inferring. It's like, well, I know what the world of The Witcher is like, so I'm just going to say I know what it's all about.
I'm going to go through these comments later and see if there's anything really interesting, or that hasn't already been said, and we'll address it on the next True Gamer if that comes up. But for now, Thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode of the True Gamer podcast, which you can get early access to over on patreon.com/conversations for $5.
Yes, early access, $5.
That's right.
You get it like over 24 hours, almost 48 hours early.
Yep.
And you also get the Conversations podcast
do.
at the $1 tier.
At $1 and above, you get the Conversations Patreon only podcast, which is pretty freaking awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. We do have to go because
I've got lots of things to do.
down to the wire.
Down to the wire right here.
Smashed it.
Thank you, bro, so much for joining us. Thank you, bro, for joining me again. Oh my God, I can feel the vibrations.
No.
I can feel it.
No.
Ah.